All right, good afternoon, race fans, and welcome to round 4 of the 2025 Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. It's the Battle on the Colorado right here in beautiful Marble Falls, Texas. To get things kicked off today, could we please have everybody rise, remove your hats for the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Okay, get your case.
Yeah, Ben's going to be on. You're going to be on.
All right, race fans, we've got a couple of boats getting out onto the water. The Texas Tri-Hulls are only... Hey, everybody, how's it going? Welcome to those joining us via our YouTube live stream, wherever you are across the world. We're so happy that you get to hang out with us this weekend here as we are in Marble Falls, Texas, just about 45 minutes west-northwest of Austin. What a fantastic community Marble Falls has been. What a beautiful backdrop here for round 4K. Again, Thomas Jarborough with Kay Myers bringing you all the live play-by-play action as we do all year here on the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. Well, Kay, starting off the day with Texas Tri-Hull, not a bad way to kick off qualifying action here at Marble Falls for round 4. And as we do every year, or every race with the Tri-Hulls, they draw for order in the first qualifying heat. And we saw some interesting qualifying draws as our top 5 drivers are all going to start qualifying heat number 1 in 8th place or further back in the pack. So these 2x2 rolling starts that we're going to do here in Texas Tri-Hull in just a handful of minutes, going to be very interesting, those opening couple of laps, see if those fast drivers like the 13 of Grant Schubert, who's starting 11th here in qualifying heat number 1. He's your series points leader. Right behind him, your 3-time defending series champion in Texas Tri-Hull, the 17 of Neil Marsh, the man they call the Dude. And then the up-and-comer that's just come out of nowhere, the 10 of Tanner Rinker, going back-to-back in round 2 and round 3. Can he do it here again in round 4? Boy, everything's getting real tight at the top here in Texas Tri-Hull.
I mean, it's just the beginning of the weekend. Anything could happen. They're starting in the back of the pack, but I know they've got the horsepower to be able to get around some of these other drivers, but they're not going to give it to them easy. I mean, we got Josh Wells out there in the 88, and he's really going for it, and he drew the lucky number 4, but on the back of the card was an 88. I said, you know what? And I took a picture of him, and I'm going to send it to him. I said, Josh, I think that's your lucky token already, starting the weekend off, drawing his own number and sitting in the 4th spot.
Absolutely, 88, and that Josh Wells nickname, Not Sure, running for Brondo, because it's what boats crave, and that number 88 Tri-Hull. But for those of you here in Marble Falls that haven't joined us on the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series before, you are going to see the class we affectionately call bumper boats at 65 miles an hour. You're going to see them go 3, 4, 5 wide in the corners. They're going to end up on top of one another, next to one another. As they say, rubbing is racing. Texas Tri-Hull takes it to a whole nother level, Kay.
Yeah, they do. If you see some of these boats up close in person, you can see where they've gotten bumps, not on the side, not only on the side, on the front, even some of the back cowlings on these motors, like even on the Rinker's brand new APX, has a good gash right through it. Nothing that a little bit of duct tape couldn't solve. If you were here yesterday, you got a little bit of a taste of what these Tri-Hulls look like, but you really didn't get a taste of what the actual racing looks like because they were out here testing, just a couple of them out on the water at the time. Now we're bringing them all right out here on the course, and you can see they haven't even started, and look at how much they have roughed up this water. It's going to be interesting to see what these guys can do. Like we said, some of the top drivers are sitting, unfortunately, in the back, but that's going to give them this little challenge, and it's going to be fun to watch. So, race fans, get ready for some bumper boats on water. This is your opportunity, as I always tell my fans and friends out there. Who's going to be your driver? To the person next to you, on the left or on the right, you know, over there in the next easy up over, say, I got odds on 88. And then you say, well, I got odds on unlucky number 13 because it's going to be lucky this weekend, driven by Grant Schubert. And then you got Cole the Merritt. He's out there in a tuxedo. If you can see that, you can see there is a tuxedo. Yes, that little zebra outfit is a tuxedo.
Absolutely it is. Well, we're going to take a quick break before we get these 13 Tri-Hulls lined up 2x2 on their rolling start here to kick off qualifying Saturday at the 2025 Formula One Powerboat Championship, round number 4, the battle on the Colorado, right here in Marble Falls, Texas. We'll be right back. All right, race fans, we've got the majority of our drivers down at the far end of the course underneath the bridge, as you're going to see them come rolling down the front stretch in a 2x2 rolling formation. So we've got, we'll have 7 rows of drivers, 2x2 with one solo driver in the back. That's the rookie, the 03 of Austin Terry. Austin, a 14-year-old rookie here in 2025, the son of Formula One driver, the one of Dustin Terry. So he's still starting in the back. He's still getting his chops, putting his laps in. Here on the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series, we do require or put restrictions on our rookies until they have been able to amass enough laps through 5 rounds of racing before then they can actually fight for position. So you'll see the 03 of Austin Terry starting from the back of the grid all weekend long. That does not mean that he'll finish in the back. The young driver out of Houma, Louisiana, has done a pretty solid job so far, considering he can barely see over the dash cam.
Exactly. I was just going to say, when you see him come out, I was like, wait a minute, do you have a booster seat inside of that tri-hall? But, you say he's a rookie, but he's got racing in his blood. I think the kid was darn near born at a boat race, and just like Grant Schubert, nipping at the buds. Is it time for me to race the tri-halls? Am I old enough to race the tri-halls? I want to get in the tri-halls. And it's going to be fun to watch Austin move his way through the ranks, and he's going to give these kids a run for money, these other drivers, because we saw him at Alton. He did a wonderful job when he, I guess you could say almost on a couple laps, started schooling the rest of the field, because we watched him time after time do like a hip check and like spray a bunch of water into the other drivers' boats.
A hip check, normally a term reserved for hockey, but definitely something you could apply here to Texas Tri-Hall Racing. And with that, let's take a look at our starting lineup for the opening qualifying heat here in Texas Tri-Hall. On the inside of row 1, he drew pole position. The younger half of the Schubert clan running for Outlaw Racing in that Plantation Ace Hardware sponsored entry, number 12, Jack Schubert.
Right on his outside, a veteran driver, the 26, Briston Sherman.
He's got running for that Ray Bob Seasoning sponsored entry. Third off the start punt, third in the rolling 2x2 lineup on the inside of row 2. They call him Caddy, number 54, running for Selco Auto Restoration, Mr. Darren Ware.
Sitting on his side, drew the lucky number, the 88, sitting on number 4. That's my boy, Josh Wells in the 88.
Coming 5th here in this starting lineup for qualifying heat number 1 on the inside of row number 3. Another part of that Outlaw F1 racing team, number 99, Mr. Devin Brown.
That is a beautiful new paint job sitting on the side of that 69. Cole, the wearing, is driving out there in a brand new zebra tuxedo. We'll see if it's a lucky one.
Now on the inside of row number 4, the man who's won the last 2 rounds here in Texas Tri-Hall, can he make it the trifecta and catapult himself to the top of the series season standings in that 7th position, the number 10 of Tanner Rinker.
Somebody we usually see up on the top of the ranks is one of the guys I always say happy birthday to, because he always has his birthday weekend for a race, and that's going to be Neil Marston, the number 17.
He's on the outside of row 4 there. On the inside of row 5, he's running that John Deere green machine, number 33, Mr. John Ottinger.
And rounding out the field in the number 1, Corey Walker. That's going to be one. I think he can make his way through the rest of the pack and get up there in the top.
Absolutely. He's on the outside of row 5. On the inside of row 6, your series points leader. Not a good draw here in Heat 1. He's going to have some work cut out for him in that 11th position. The number 13, Grant Schubert.
In the 42, Wyatt, one of the drivers I have not seen around here yet, but I think we're going to keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, Diamond Z Reynolds presents the number 42 of Wyatt Zeller on the outside of row 6 in that 12th position. And then again, like we had mentioned before, we went through the starting lineups on the sole driver there in row number 7 in that 13th position, running for bunkers, the number 3 of Austin Terry.
I don't know about you, but I'm getting excited because guess what? Here comes Jet Ski Jared. He's going to start rounding up these tri-halls and giving our fans a good show. So, race fans, get up on your feet, start cheering on your boat. Who's it going to be? The 88, the 1, the 27, the 17. Who are you going to lay odds on? Here we go, race fans.
All right, as we bring them down the front stretch, Jet Ski Jared, part of our sport rescue team, the best rescue team in all of powerboat racing anywhere in the world, as he leads them down 2x2, a very consistent speed, ensuring that these drivers are lined up side by side. And we're going to see that green flag drop. Once it does, we're going to go under racing conditions. He pulls off. Now we're waiting for Chief Referee Doug Ray. Looks like it's good. And go, 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 go. And we're under green flag with the 12 of Jack Schubert on the inside. The 26 of Briston Sherman on his outside hip. These are going to be running a 2-pin, 1/3 mile course as they go down here into the far east end of the course. Who's going to come out on top? Great move there by the 12 of Jack Schubert. And here comes that 88 of Josh Wells, already up into third and moving fast.
Keep an eye out on the very outside is that purple and green Colware, and he made a great move on the start. Coming around on the outside, now we're going to see if he's going to sneak on the inside of Wells, and he does. Just about takes out the 17 of Neil Marsh.
Ooh, yeah, he gets together with the 88 of Wells there. They're all wadded up there, 3, 4, 5 wide in the corners. Coming out, though, finding the clean water is the pole sitter, the 12 of Jack Schubert. The 26 of Briston Sherman is now going to come in and screen now. But look at there, the 88 of Josh Wells goes down tight to the inside. He makes a move on the 26 of Sherman. Can he hang on? He does. What a great run there by the 88 of Josh Wells. He moves himself up into second position. But they're all trying to track down the youngest Schubert out on the water, the 12 of Jack Schubert, who started on the pole.
Jack Schubert goes really wide, opens up the door for Wells. Wells decides to let himself in, and he's breaking that gap between them very close. We're going to see if they go into turn one. Is Jack going to be able to hold on to that? Wells gets real wide and real slow. Gets real high going out in turn one.
Absolutely. There's the 26 of Briston Sherman's back off. Now there's the 69 of Cole Waring. And right on his inside hips, the 1 of Corey Walker, the 17 of Neil Marsh, and the 13 of Grant Schubert. They're all over each other coming out of turn number one. There's the 88 of Josh Wells starting to gain some ground. Can he catch up to the 12 of Jack Schubert here in these early goings of qualifying heat number one in Texas Tri-Hall? There's the 69 of Cole Waring. Now he makes it out of the bridge turn. Down at the far end of the course. Oh, no, looks like the 99 of Devin Brown has gone dead in the water. There's the 17 of Neil Marsh. He's fighting hard. He's been able to move up a couple of spots as he's already up there into 9th position, started 11th, so he's up a couple. But, boy, having so many of the top competitors there in the back, they are really making it hard to gain ground on the top drivers here in opening heat number one because they're doing battle so hard with one another, Kay.
I mean, this water is just getting just crazy busy, and they're still trying to maneuver their way around. And you can see these boats going up, down, left, right as they're all trying to chase down our leader, the number 12, Jack Schubert, followed by the 88 of Josh Wells, Sherman in the 26, Corey in the 69. But look at the battle for 4th and 5th. On the outside is going to be Rinker in the 10.
Yeah, inside of there in 5th position is the 1 of Corey Walker. He cuts right across the bow of the 10 of Tanner Rinker as you see him overhead there. The 10 of Tanner Rinker trying to find some open water and some clean water to try to gain some ground and move up one more position. He knows those points are absolutely the most important thing possible here in qualifying because clean water out in that top spot, that number one spot, come our main event tomorrow afternoon is going to be huge. There we stay with the dude, the man out of Hemlock, Michigan, the number 17 of Neil Marsh. He's running for Timberwood Antique Mall and Farmers Home Tavern. Can he move himself up from 8th position? He's climbed up another one. Can he get up any further than that here as we run this 7-lap opening qualifying heat with just a couple laps remaining, Kay?
White flag is out. 1 lap to go. Jack Schubert has started to stretch out his lead just a little bit. Josh Wells still in chase in the 88, but the race now is for 3rd and 4th on the inside. Cole in the 69. Sherman in the 26 as they go deck to deck, bumper to bumper, coming out of turn number 1.
Boy, what a move there by the 69 of Cole Waring in that Burnshausen Oil-sponsored entry. He just came flying down the inside. He got the inside line. What a great move. And came flying all the way out and moved himself up into 3rd position. But swinging wide to the outside now, ladies and gentlemen, going to wire, running for Plantation Ace Hardware, number 12, Jack Schubert.
Followed by the 88. That would be Josh Wells and the 69 of Cole, the Warren Marin.
And then right behind him, the 26 of Briston Sherman in 4th. Well, look out there, Tanner Rinker. Right, nose in front of the 10 of Tanner Rinker was the 1 of Corey Walker in 5th. That puts the 10 of Tanner Rinker in 6th, the 17 of Neil Marsh in 7th, the 13 of Grant Schubert in 8th, the 33 of John Ottinger in 9th, the 54 of Darren Ware in 10th, and the 42 of Wyatt Zeller in 11th. We did not see the 03 of Austin Terry out there, and the 99 of Devin Brown only made it a couple of laps here in the opening qualifying heat. But boy, what a wire-to-wire doozy it was for the number 12 of Jack Schubert. All right, well, we're going to try to make them, we're going to have Kay make her way down to the start-finish line. Hopefully she's going to have a chance to chat with a fantastically happy young driver, the youngest of the Schubert family, as the 12 of Jack Schubert in that Plantation Ace Hardware machine goes wire to wire here in the opening qualifying heat. Look at how close they are. Just a couple of seconds behind him was the 88 of Josh Wells. Then the 69 of Cole Mullet Waring. They call him Mullet. He's rocking a tuxedo this weekend underneath his safety suit due to him losing the Outlaw Challenge that their team puts on every race. If you finish last in your respective class, the Outlaw team has F1 and Tri-Hull drivers. They got about 4 each. If you finish last, the previous race, you have a punishment that you have to do. Well, that punishment this week was applied to the 69 of Cole Waring in the tri-hull class, and the one of Dustin Terry, your defending series champion in Formula One, after they had both had a DNF in the main event at round 3, the Alton Midwest Nationals in Alton, Illinois, just outside of St. Louis. Frustrating there for the 3 of Austin Terry as well as the 99 of Devin Brown. But they got to wear tuxedos underneath their safety suits. As you can imagine, mid to high 90s here in Marble Falls. Wearing a tuxedo under your driver's suit is not the most comfortable of places to be. But that's the point of it, right? Those guys on the Outlaw team battle each other harder than they do anybody else. But there are battles all over the race. We're going to send things down now to the winner of qualifying heat number 1 with Kay, the number 12 of Jack Schubert. Down to you, Kay.
Well, Jack, I mean, you came off of an exceptional win just a couple weeks ago at Alton, Illinois. You came off that boat and you said, "Can you hold me up?" And once again, another win right here, and you came out and you jumped out, giving all of your crew members a big hug.
Yeah, it was great. I remember going into that corner, and I'm like, "Thanks, Briston, for giving me the room to make this turn." And I just took it from there, and I just kept going.
Did you realize that Josh Wells in the 88 was right on your back?
I did. I saw him pass Briston over there, and then I saw him catch me because I kind of messed up in that turn right there, and then I just lost him after that.
What do you got to say to all the fans here in Marble Falls, Texas, that are here with cheering you on?
So glad to have y'all all here. Just excited to be here as well.
Well, that starts off our weekend with a checkered flag to young Jack Schubert. Back to you, Tom.
Thanks, Kay. Yeah, Jack, a young man of few words, does a lot more of his talking behind the wheel of a Texas Tri-Hull than he does with a microphone stuck in his face. But super excited for that young driver as the Schubert family continues their multi-generational powerboat racing prowess here as the next generation of Grant and Jack Schubert both duking it out in Texas Tri-Hull. The younger brother getting the best of the older brother here in qualifying heat number 1. Now, Jack did start first. Grant, I believe, started 10th or 11th there in that opening heat. So one had to make up a lot more ground than the other one did. But, hey, when you're presented the opportunity, what you do with said opportunity is always what's most important. And he did exactly what he needed to do there in the opening heat for Texas Tri-Hull. K. Boy, he's got to be happy, the young driver down there. He's got to be excited, gain some valuable points. But now, when they come back out on the water, we call it flipping the script, right? Worst goes to first goes to worst. It's going to be a lot tougher for that young driver to run all the way through this tough field here in Texas Tri-Hull when they do their second qualifying heat later on this afternoon.
I don't know. You were over here. I was with him, and he was shaking. The adrenaline was going so much. I have a feeling that adrenaline is going to go right into the driving skills, and he'll be able to make his way through that pack and get back up on the top podium again.
Absolutely. He's just got to have to get by some of our tough competitors. And in Texas Tri-Hull, they don't leave you a lane, right?
No.
This isn't like the F1 boats where they'll leave you a lane. These things rubbing is racing in Texas Tri-Hull, and they bang into each other on a fairly regular basis. And so it'll be interesting to see how many times that young driver gets cut off trying to make his way through the field in qualifying heat number 2. But yeah, it's he did exactly what he was supposed to coming from the pole. So let's take a look at what's coming up next. Up next, we've got our first Formula One qualifying heat with the 8 drivers from Formula One class going to try to go 8 minutes plus 1 lap here around this 4-pin, 3/4 mile course here on the Colorado River. Then after Formula One, we're going to have the Formula Lights first qualifying heat. That's 6 minutes plus 1 lap. Then we're going to come back for Tri-Hull heat number 2, 7 laps, reverse order of points here around that 2-pin, 3rd mile course. Then at 2:30, the Formula Lights second qualifying heat, again 6 minutes plus 1 lap, reverse order of finish. And we're going to wrap up today's racing with the second qualifying heat of Formula One that will also be reverse order of finish here in points. What a fantastic early run it was for our drivers in Texas Tri-Hull. Who's going to win it here in Formula One? As we saw, though, 17 of Dylan Anderson go sub 29.5 and lay down the fastest the lap times in our fast lap qualifiers this morning. Can he hang on coming from pole position? Because he does have that APX motor on the back doesn't necessarily get off the beach K quite as quick as those 2.5-liter two-stroke Merc V6s.
Yes, I did sit down with his dad this morning at breakfast, and I said, what's coming out of the trailer today? What'd you guys decide to do? And he's like, with this size course, the altitude, the heat, everything else, we decided we're just gonna keep you in guessing. And then now you've already put it out there for the crowd that we're going to be seeing out there. He's raced 3 different different motors. He started off with the Yamaha motor, did really well with that. Then he switched over to the 2.5 with the Mercury. And then once Mercury brought out the APX motor, he decided, I'm going to try that one too. And he has done so good with all 3 of those motors. So if you are listening in from across the world, we do welcome you here. Also, race fans here at Marble Falls, we do thank you for letting us borrow your beautiful park and water so that we can be racing out here this weekend. Make sure you go to F1 Powerboat Racing so that you can watch all of the racing live, past races, future races that we have going on.
Absolutely, yeah. Make sure you smash that like button so that you can follow us all year for the rest of the 2025 season and beyond. Where do we go from here? Round 5 on the 2025 Formula One Powerboat Championship Series will bring us to Windsor, Colorado, in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, where elevation can wreak havoc on the 2.5-liter V6 two-strokes. And the APX has got the computer on board to dial them in. Will elevation play a big role in round number 5? And then we wrap up our season just outside of Houston at the Baytown Boat Club for the battle on the San Jacinto, round 6 of the 2025 season. So just at the halfway point here, Marble Falls is kind of the tipping point after Alton Midwest Nationals as we go into round 4 here this weekend. Round 3 was quite a fantastic run for the 52 of Chris Rinker in Formula One. He's had an interesting year. He qualified fantastically in our opening round at Port Neches, Texas, back in May of this year. However, due to some incidents within the Rinker Racing family that happened on the race course in the Texas Tri-Hull class, Chris decided to step away from the boat and make sure he could take care of his family. A tough decision, one that probably others in his family would have told him he didn't have to do. But Chris is somebody, when he makes up his mind to do something, he's going to do it whether you want him to or not. He ran fantastically in round 2, should have won, but that was a human error there in round 2, and then finally got off the schneid with his first win on the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series here in 2025 at the Alton Midwest Nationals. And boy, he really seems to be on the rise, Kay, and with another great weekend here in Marble Falls, I think we could see the 52 of Chris Rinker in that catbird seat leaving Marble Falls and heading to Colorado.
Well, and every time you go over to the pits, you can see the whole crew has got their heads inside of that boat saying, what can we make? Make sure every box is checked. Everything is correct. Make sure all of the timing is right. All of the electrical system is all hooked up. The batteries charged. There's so much that goes inside of these Formula Ones to be able, and there's like little bit of errors that can happen. And we've seen it before where there's been steering issues or other kind of issues, and these drivers have to do everything they can and their crews to make it through each individual heat. Talking about heat, that is, with this heat index right now, it's already starting to take a toll on some of these boats. So they're over there trying to keep the motors cool, trying to keep themselves cool, the crews cool. And a reminder, keep yourself cool, fans. We've got shaved ice up there, lemonade up there, barbecue up there, cotton candy up there. So make sure that you go up to each one of those food vendors, grab something to eat. We do have our next class coming out. This is going to be the Formula Ones. You'll see speeds of over 120 miles an hour screaming down the Colorado.
All right, race fans. Well, we got the tri-hulls off the water. We're going to be loading the Formula Ones there. A little bit more of a difficult load into the water. They've got to make their way through the canal out onto the Colorado River. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. Wet your whistle. Fill that belly. We've got barbecue, sausages, brisket sandwiches, kettle corn, lemonade, Kona shaved ice. There's all sorts of great things. But we'll be right back with more racing action here at the Battle on the Colorado after a word from our sponsors.
From an early age, we race. It's part of who we are. It's in our DNA. For some, the need to keep pushing fuels our lives. At VP Racing, we pour everything we have into creating the industry's best products. For those who put it all on the line, whether it's the track or the trail or wherever you race, they say you can't win them all, but you can sure as hell try. VP Racing. Win every race.
JH Performance Boats. Custom-made, classic, shallow water boats built from scratch, offering a direct and personalized experience from start to finish. They provide exceptional service and support, having an unmatched reputation while paying close attention to detail with quality construction, expert knowledge, and outstanding performance. Moto Marketing Group, accelerating brands for over 35 years. From developing some of the most famous boat and race team graphics that look fast to websites that run fast. Moto Marketing Group is your one-stop marketing shop for branding, vehicle wraps, websites, photography, and print design. They do it all professionally for a great price. Check them out online at motomarketinggroup.com. Seaway Marine, the Formula Light sponsor here in 2025 on the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series, operates out of a 62,000 square foot warehouse that is packed with current OEM parts, aftermarket parts, and vintage hard-to-find parts. They ship over 100,000 packages all over the United States, providing same-day shipping on in-stock orders. Seaway staff is arguably the most knowledgeable in the industry. With decades of experience, Seaway prides itself in excellent customer service. Make Seaway Marine your first call or text for all your marine part needs. 425-412-4006 or online at seawaymarine.com.
Racing Communications. They're radios for racing.
Seabold Sports, world champion powerboat racing since 1939. Find more on the legendary Seabold family at seaboldsports.com. VP Racing Fuels, the official fuel of the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. VP Racing Fuels has been the fuel choice of champions for decades. Now you can benefit from VP's expanded line of performance additives for your boat, daily driver, or weekend warrior. Learn more about their ultramarine and explore VP's full product line at vpracingfuels.com. All right, race fans, well, we're back here at Marble Falls for round 4 here at the 2025 Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. We are a national racing series under the banner of the American Powerboat Association. Inside the American Powerboat Association is a division called OPC, or Outboard Performance Craft. That's what we fall under here on the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. All 3 classes we run are under the APBA's OPC division. The OPC Division National Championships will be held later this year. But in addition to our series racing here in 2025, that'll be at the Champions Park Lake. Excuse me, that's the World Championships are in Champions Park Lake. Actually, the National Championships for OPC making their way back to Kankakee after over a decade hiatus. They're going to be in Kankakee, Illinois later in August. Again, our next race is mid-September, the 13th and 14th. In the foothills of the Colorado Rockies in Windsor, Colorado. But to look at this Formula One class, it was a real tight fast lap qualifier earlier today, Kay, as we saw, I think, the top 6 drivers all within about 1 second of each other here on this 5-pin course on the Colorado River.
Well, I saw yesterday we had testing, and these drivers were going out, and then they come back to the beach, change props, change the setup, just tweak it just enough. And I think that each driver said, you know what, he was out there a little bit faster than me because they're timing each other. I got to get that extra mile or even 1/10 of a second to be able to get in front of those other drivers. And these boats, no margin for error, because out here on the Colorado, they're going over 120 miles per hour. And these drivers are inside of what I call the hot box. Because you think it's hot out here. Can you imagine sitting inside of one of these cockpits, sitting inside of there with the sun blistering inside the windshield of these boats? But as you can see, they're making their way out on the course. They're giving all of our fans a wave, so this is your opportunity, race fans. Go ahead and stand up, give them a wave back. They love our fans. If you want to come into the pits, you're more than welcome to. If you have any questions about how Formula One OPC works, feel free to ask any of the drivers, crew members, officials. They'd be glad to answer any of your questions. Those answers also could be found on the F1 Powerboat Racing website. Make sure you look up on there. Follow us on all of our social media, as we say. Make sure you follow us on YouTube. We'll have some great drone footage so you can see what it looks like to be on top of one of these boats. And maybe if you even make your way over into the pit area, I know they've got T-shirts for sale. These drivers love selling their T-shirts. Make sure you get a signature on them. I always say, carry a Sharpie over there. And maybe they'll even let you sit inside one of these cockpits. Your youngster that's out there can start racing at the young age of 14 years old in our Formula Lights, which you saw earlier, basically the step up into our Formula Ones.
Absolutely. The Formula Light class has been a fantastic feeder class for numerous Formula One drivers, but also has the Texas Tri-Hull division. Both have become great feeders for the Formula One class. You know, you look at the Formula Lights, the 8 of Jeremiah Mayo, multi-time winner in Formula Lights, the 13 of Grant Schubert, multi-time winner in Formula Lights, the 52 of Chris Rinker in a class that's now defunct. It was called Grand Prix, but very similar to the Formula Lights, a lower-powered tunnel boat running probably through about the mid-90s, but Chris Rinker started there. So a lot of these drivers have, worked their way up to Formula One. When you're going in speeds in excess of 120 miles an hour on water, it is a whole different ball of wax. We have people come up and talk to us all the time about, hey, I would love to get into this. And we tell them, maybe you want to start with something like a Formula Lights or a Tri-Hull before you hop into the Formula One.
Another great opportunity for our race fans to get inside of the cockpit of one of these. We offer what's called the two-seater ride. We did that yesterday. You make sure you email us and say, I'm interested in getting inside in one of these cockpits. I want to go for a ride. Tim Siebold will be at the wheel for you. Sorry, we don't hand over the wheel. We just hand over the passenger seat. We gave a couple rides yesterday, and the smiles coming out of these riders was just incredible. And I actually had one gentleman say, I might be going into the pits because I saw a couple of those pits had 2 boats in them. I wonder if they want to sell one to me. Great way to get involved in racing is maybe take a ride yourself. Right now we got the two-seater program showing up onto our live stream. It is a lot of fun. Myself, I was blessed enough to finally get a ride. Thank you. It took me a few years at Colorado at Windsor last year. And I'll tell you, as a racer myself, I got out of that boat and I had probably the bigger smile than some of our riders. You go in there and you get the G-forces about 8 Gs. And Tim Siebold, he was not very easy on me when I went out there.
No, that's not the point. The point is to allow you to feel what it's like to be under the pressure that these Formula One drivers run. That is our two-seater race ride experience here on the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. The best way to ensure yourself a race ride experience, become one of our sponsors here in Marble Falls, and we'll make sure we take care of all of our sponsors so well throughout the season. And we've got some great sponsors here in Marble Falls. On the side of our reigning series champion, the number 1 of Dustin Terry, running for Firefly Aerospace just outside of Marble Falls. What an awesome company that is, doing moon landings and all sorts of space stuff. And super excited that the great folks from Firefly are on board here in 2025 at the Battle on the Colorado.
Making his way out onto the course, doing double duty this weekend inside the cockpit of that 13, Captain Mark Seafood. That is young Grant Schubert. He said double duty because he just jumped out of a Tri-Hull, getting banged around, and now he jumped right into a Formula. That kid started in the outboard category of J Junior Hydro, starts at the young age of 9 years old in a kneel-down boat. And I remember the first time I ever met that kid at 9 years old. He's like, I'm going to drive a J Stock, and then I'm going to drive a Tri-Hull. Then I'm going to get myself into a Formula. And it's been so much fun over the years watching this kid just evolve through the sport. He's had quite the year. When he's at Shreveport, unfortunately put a hole in the boat, turned around and went over to the Clover Construction Group and said, hey, you got a boat in that trailer. How much you want to sell that thing for? Took it out, did a wonderful job in that boat, came back at Alton, Illinois, and then he went back into his original hull, said, I might kind of like this new hull, and that's what he's out in right now.
Absolutely. As we get ready for qualifying heat number 1, let's run through our season standings so far through 3 rounds. The man out in the water in that bright orange and white Raybob seasoning, number 8 of Jeremiah Mayo, is your points leader coming into round number 4 with 631 points amassed through the first 3 rounds. And that's different than it was before round 3, as Jeremiah Mayo was able to catapult himself to the top spot in the standings after the Alton Midwest Nationals in round 3. Second in the point standings, He is your defending series champion. He was the points leader after round number 2, but relinquished that top spot in round 3 with 627 points, just 4 points behind our series points leader right now is the one of Dustin Terry.
And Chris Rinker brought on a brand new sponsor this year, Mastercraft, proving them, you know what, I'm one of those top drivers. I'm a Texas boy. I'm a Rinker. I got all these names, and now he is proving it, sitting in third with 611 points.
Yeah, only 20 points back, considering he missed the opportunity for 150 points in our final in the opening round. So he has been setting a blistering pace since round 1 back in May in Port Neches, Texas. And right behind him, unable to be here this weekend due to some family emergencies that he had to handle. Fourth in points with 553 points, the number 24 of Spencer Love.
Just got done talking about the Red Rocket, driven by Grant Schubert and the Captain Mark Seafood, with 525 points. You know, he's sitting there with 525, just over 100 points behind Mayo. But like I said, he's had a couple issues with boat hauls. He's had some issues, but I think they've got it all figured out, because watching him out here testing yesterday and during the qualification heat this morning in fastest lap, I think that guy's got that boat figured out.
Absolutely. It was less than 3/4 of a second off of the fastest time in our fast lap qualifiers earlier today, and he is looking to move up the point standings. In 6th position after 3 rounds in 2025 is the man out of Nashville, Tennessee, running for Excess Batteries and Anderson Marine. He won the opening round in 2025, had a technical infraction. Otherwise, he would probably be sitting in the catbird seat right now, but he's still in 6th, looking to fight hard to try to claw his way back in to the top 3. Can he do it here after round 4? The number 17 of Dylan Anderson sitting 6th in points with 497.
And in 7th is that black with, what do we call it, chartreuse?
Correct.
Chartreuse 99. That's another part of this, we'll just call them the Crazy Outlawers. The Crazy Outlaw group. They are just a bundle of fun to be over there in the pits. Like I said, pits are open to the fans if you want to go over there and go talk to these drivers. And you can't miss Travis Yates out there, because his first name is Travis, but sometimes you'll hear me say it by accident. Call him Travis Tritt, because, you know, you don't listen to country as much as I do, but, you know, he looks just like Travis Tritt.
Yeah, look at that there, mullet in his zebra-printed tuxedo that he's being required to wear this weekend as a part of his outlaw punishment from round 3. He had a DNF in the Tri-Hull final at the Alton Midwest Nationals, so he's going to be rocking that beautiful zebra tuxedo with the mullet flowing out the back of the number 69 of Cole Waring. He's down by the start pontoon to help out his fellow outlaw drivers in the F1 class. They can see him waving down there to the fans out on the start pontoon. He's got the black hat on, loving life down there, along with the big hat there. I think that's the 88 of Josh Wells, helping out down there as well, a fellow Tri-Hull driver. And that's the great thing about the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series, is as much as we are competitors on the water, we are the best of friends off the water. If anybody needs anything, if they need a gear case, they need a prop, they need a spark plug, they need an extra set of hands, they have to fight off people from helping them, because they end up getting more help than they need, which is a good problem to have. Yeah. And one that really drives us so much camaraderie between all of our drivers, again, off the water.
Yeah, once they get on the water, it's fair game on that point. We've seen that time and time again. We just got done talking about Grant Schubert having some issues. Aiden Benton, one of our lone Canadians, unfortunately wasn't able to make it here this weekend. He had some motor issues, and every time I looked over there, he had like 6 different crew members all over there helping him out.
Absolutely. We're going to run some hot laps here before we line them up on the start pontoon, get those motors lubed up and ready to rock and roll as these drivers are looking to claim the top spot in the opening qualifying heat here in Formula One. You know, the driver that we didn't talk about, who's really set a blistering pace early, he's found himself third off the start pontoon here in qualifying heat number 1, is the young man from Windsor, Colorado, running for Island Lake Marine, that number 29 of Jared Jensen. He's got that teal, white, and checkered Hoffman Formula One composite. Took him a little while to get used to it, Kay, at the Alton Midwest Nationals, but seems like he's got it dialed in here this weekend.
You know, and I talked to him, I said, what are you going to before this race? I said, well, you got a brand new boat, but you're still comfortable in the old boat. I know you still got some repairs to do, but are you going to work harder to fix the old boat, or are you going to work harder to figure out the new boat? And he says, you know what, I kind of really like this new ride. And I'm like, well, doesn't everybody like a new ride? I mean, but he said, I'm just kind of going to keep it as a backup boat just in case. but he goes, I'm really liking this one.
I'm just waiting for them to wrap it in their traditional purple and green colors from Island Lake Marine. Island Lake Marine, a great local sponsor and a fantastic marina in the northern foothills of Colorado. Yes, they do have lakes. They do have boats in Colorado. There isn't a ton of lakes, but they do have some fantastic lakes in the foothills in the Jensen family and Island Lake Marine, providing you all your boating needs in northern Colorado.
We will be there with the Water Valley Company. That's the beautiful venue that they have offered to us. We've been there a couple years now, and I don't know how much the golfers like us, but I'm pretty sure a few times when we had the boats out on the water, you look out on the golf course, and they've all stopped golfing, and they've all grabbed a beer and said, this looks really interesting.
Yeah, they complain about the noise until they're sitting on the tee box watching the races instead of teeing off on hole 12.
Yeah, and they get one of the best views from up there, too.
Absolutely, but, hey, that's okay. Water Valley and our race in round 5 in Windsor, Colorado is a fantastic race venue. It's a purpose-built lake, big enough for a boat race, and not too big, not too small. The only thing that really throws a wrench in everything for our drivers is the elevation in the foothills. When you're over a mile up above sea level, it makes it very difficult, especially for the carbureted motors, to really find that balance. Now, contrast that with here in Marble Falls. We're much closer to sea level. We've got that hot, warm, sticky air. Those carbureted motors love that kind of air. Now, the other motor package, the APX, it doesn't really matter to the APX because it's got a computer on board that does all the dynamic fuel-to-air ratio changes on the fly, which has proved very advantageous in Windsor, Colorado. The real question is could it be advantageous here as well, as we see an APX on the pole here in qualifying heat number 1 behind the 17 of Dylan Anderson.
We did just talk about that. You never know what that guy's going to put on the back of that boat, and I talked to Ray and I said, hey, which one are you going to bring out? Which one are you bringing out? And he said, I'll let you guess. And now the guess is out of the box because he's going to put that APX on it. We want to thank Mercury for everything they do for Formula One, tunnel boat racing, and boat racing in general. They have come and evolved with us, making these boats faster and faster every year, easier to work on. There's not much you have to do to these APX. They come out of the box, throw it on the back of that boat, and you go racing. But you do have to have the right prop on there to be able to make it go fast. And Dylan, I think, has the winning prop on there, and sitting on top of that pole, going to give him a big advantage. But look who's right on his other side, Dustin Terry. I mean, that's another good veteran driver. So he's going to have his hands full as they make their way off to this dock. So, race fans, you can see they're starting to line up down here over on the dock. From that point, we talked about this earlier. If you weren't here, we do a Le Mans start. Give us a rundown on that, Thomas.
Absolutely. The modified Le Mans start is the starting sequence of choice here on the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. Unlike car racing that runs a Le Mans start, mainly the Formula One series and the smaller iterations of that open wheel racing, they start in a Le Mans start, which the car is on, but in neutral. We modify that Le Mans because our boats don't have neutral. There's no reverse. There's no first or second or third. It's go and stop. Well, and stop is glide to a halt,
yeah.
Right? Not necessarily stopping. It's the tricky part about a boat. You don't have a brake pedal, and so those boats are completely off with no power at all, sitting on the start pontoon, floating in the water there. We're going to start at 1 minute, and we're going to be coming up on a test flag here momentarily. But we start at 1 minute. We're going to count it down from 1 minute in 10-second increments down to 20 seconds. Once we get to 20 seconds, they're going to go under starters' orders, and you're going to see them come blasting off the dock, hitting in excess of 100 miles an hour in less than 3 seconds. They're going to go through the middle of the course, all the way down to the bridge, circle down through turns 3, 4, and then come across chicane 5. Once they cross the start-finish line, we will start lap 1 of this 8-minute plus 1 lap qualifying heat here in Formula One. Unlike the tri-hulls, we do a timed heat. We do that because a lot of the bodies of water we run on are commercial bodies of water, and what it allows us to do is to ensure that we still get enough qualifying laps in if there were a wreck or some sort of delay in the racing, but allow it to continue to move our racing program on throughout the afternoon without folks having to sit too terribly long out here in the sun without some fantastic racing to watch. Test flag is coming up, fans. There's that orange flag out in the middle of the course. That is what they're going to watch when we get under starters orders, as we're coming up here momentarily on the 1 minute gun here to open qualifying in Formula One. Just waiting for Chief Referee Doug Ray to ensure that everybody's lined up properly on the start dock. Chris Kiefer and the rest of the great officials here. 1 minute drivers, 1 minute. He laid down a sub 29.5 second lap, and he was your fast lap qualifier. He's on the pole here, the 17 of Dylan Anderson. 50 seconds, drivers, 50 seconds. Right behind him, your defending series champion in that black beauty with Firefly Aerospace on the side. Can he come off the dock like a rocket? The number 1 of Dustin Terry. 40 seconds, drivers, 40 seconds. Then the surprise of the morning, the 29 of Jared Jensen running for Island Lake Marine, sitting third. Can he do it? Or will it be the winner at Alton Midwest Nationals, the 52 of Chris Rinker? 30 seconds, drivers, 30 seconds. Then it's the 13 of Grant Schubert, that Captain Marks, Red Rocket. Then the 8 of Jeremiah Mayo, followed by the 92 of Dean Comer, and the 40 of Austin Cheatham. 20 seconds, drivers, you're under starters orders. That flag is up. He drops the flag, and they come roaring off the dock. Great jump there by the 1 of Terry. Who's going to make it down to the first pin, Kay? It's always nail-biting going down through the middle of the course here on the opening starts in Formula One.
I don't know about you, but I've got goosebumps with the way that the game came flying off of that start, and it looks like he's going to be able to hold on to that inside lane. But here they come, flying out of turn number 3 and 4. You can see all the packing underneath those boats, but it's going to be your leader in the Anderson Marine.
The 8 of Jeremiah Mayo just gets hosed down by the 29. But look at the 13 of Grant Schubert coming out of nowhere. He's got it screaming down the front straightaway. He walks by the 29 of Jensen like he's standing still. But the 17 of Dylan Anderson did what he needed to do on the pole. He got out, found that clean water K, and he's running that 8PX V8 4-stroke on the back of that all blue Anderson Marine machine down to the south end of the course there, down through turns 3 and 4. And look at there, the 1 of Terry, he loves to go way wide to the outside, doesn't he, Kay?
He sure does. I've noticed that, looking for the little bit of clean water that he can find. But jumping on his inside is young Grant Schubert in the Captain Mark Seafood. I talked about him earlier. He's got that thing dialed in, figured out.
Absolutely, he does. And then we got that battle for 4th and 5th. That's between the 52 of Chris Rinker on the outside and the 29 of Jared Jensen on the inside. Jensen doing a fantastic job of holding off the man who won round 3. That's the great thing about the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. Every weekend you take about 5 drivers, throw them up in the air, and any one of them can come out victorious here on the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. And the 52 of Chris Rinker, we're going to stay with him overhead. What a great shot there by our folks at Live Race Media as they cut to the shore cam as the 52 of Chris Rinker runs through the chicane down the front straightaway. 105, 110, 115 plus miles an hour as he goes down into turn number 1. He's looking to try to climb all over the 29 of Jared Jensen. But I got to say, that Island Lake Marine machine has really started to pull away. And here comes the 8 of Jeremiah Mayo on his inside. He crosses through the wake, gets a windshield full of spray off the 52 of Chris Rinker. But wow, where did Jared Jensen come from, Kay?
I told you, he's got that boat figured out. He likes that boat. It's still new to him, but he says it's fast, and I've got this thing figured out. And he's going to go side by side down the front stretch, chasing down for that 4th place. But look out, here comes Rinker in the 52.
All right, there's the 1 of Dustin Terry, your defending series champion there. He's sitting in second, still trying to track down the 17 of Dylan Anderson and those APX, going 1-2 so far here as we're 5 minutes, 52 seconds into this 8 minutes plus 1 lap. Opening qualifying heat here in Formula One. Brought to you by Mercury Racing. One of our fantastic title sponsors here in 2025, as they have been for numerous years and look to for many more years. There's our leader, the 17 of Dylan Anderson. He's pushing hard down the front straightaway. Then there you see the 1 of Dustin Terry. Interesting to see. I did not expect APX 4-strokes to be 1-2 here in qualifying, Kay.
I'm not totally surprised because these APX have come so far just in the last couple years that they've been introduced into Formula One tunnel boat racing. But right behind him in 3rd place, still got that 2.5 running up with the big guns.
And there's right there overhead, the 8 of Jeremiah Mayo on our live stream here on YouTube. See the 8 of Mayo. He's sitting back in, what was that, 6th position? Yeah, 6th position. But boy, he is screaming fast, but he can't seem to make up any ground on the 52 of Rinker. He seems to catch up during the straightaways, but then right here is exactly what makes him so frustrated, as the 52 of Rinker is just cutting him off in the corners.
Yeah, it's just blowing up a whole bunch of rooster tail in his face, basically blinding him. And your natural reaction as any kind of a driver, even in a car or a boat, is to let off on the throttle. But these guys usually don't. But when you're blinded going into these turns, you have to be able to let off on the throttle, glide out from the backside of the rooster tail, and guide yourself around. He's doing everything he can to try and get around the 52 of Chris Rinker. But our leader has got it flying down that backstretch. That's going to be Anderson Marine, driven by young Dylan Anderson.
And Anderson continues to push hard and he knows he's going to have to push it because the one of Dustin Terry is right behind him, and he knows he can't give that driver an inch as he is our defending series champion. But you see him sweep that Hoffman composite with that APX on the back out of turn number 4. Now he comes through the chicane on the front stretch. That's that yellow buoy there. Now across the start-finish line, he's going to finish another lap as we've got 4 minutes plus 1 lap just at the halfway point here in qualifying heat number 1 in the Formula 1 class.
I just noticed it, but it looks like the top to Dustin's might be floating up. His canopy light might be floating up just a little bit. Not sure if he's trying to hold on to that canopy to keep it down or if he's able to drive down that, or if he's just looking for a little bit of cool air just to be able to try and get some breathing. Because like you talked about, it's hot, it's humid, and this heat is really making it hard for these drivers.
Absolutely. As he continues to push hard coming out of turn number 4, now sweeps it through that left-hand chicane down the front stretch, trying to find a way to catch the 17 of Dylan Anderson. Is the one running for Firefly Aerospace, the number 1 of Dustin Terry. Now Terry's nice sweep there out of turn number 1, but he just can't seem to find any extra level, Kay. It seems like the 17 of Dylan Anderson just continues to pull away from the one of Dustin Terry here in this opening qualifying heat. Looks like after this, if he can hang on to this solid second place finish, they're going to have to go back to the drawing board and maybe move some weight around, lighten that thing up, because with the APX, it's really all about propeller choice and balance in those 4-stroke machines.
Yes, and next heat, you never know. He may change the prop on it, put a little bit smaller prop or a larger prop, because as you talked about earlier, he would catch them on the very end of the straightaway, which means he's got the top end. But Dylan put the prop that's going to give him the punch out of the corner because we're running a smaller course. Now, here's where we're going to put some other game factors into this. As you can see, the 17 is now coming up to back traffic. It looks like Austin Cheatham's going to go a little bit wide, but not too wide. I'm not going to give him an easy route around this course. But that means that Dylan's got to get around Cheatham, then Austin's got to get around Cheatham. So that is what Austin was hoping for, is to get up to that back traffic so he can close that gap and hope that Dylan makes an error or some kind of a driving error when he tries to get around Cheatham.
Yeah, it looks like the 17 of Dylan Anderson was able to get by the 40 of Austin Cheatham in that JH Performance Nashville Marine machine and put him a lap down, and now they come out of the south end of the course, I think, or the west end of the course. I don't know. I'm all turned around here in Marble Falls. But he's continuing to push hard as we stay overhead with the 40 of Austin Cheatham. As you can see, our leader, the 17 of Dylan Anderson, out there now. The one of Dustin Terry is just going to flash right there. Cheatham allows him to go tight to the inside, but that's not really where the one of Terry wants. He wants to be able to pass drivers on the outside, where that setup on that number 1, a Firefly Aerospace machine, is really dialed in for.
You know, now that he's got past him, he's able to take back to his original game plan, which is to go wide. You can see where he does that. Right behind him, we're going to have Grant Schubert, who likes to hug the buoys, as I say. But he's going to have to, because here comes Jared Jensen right on his inside. Looks like Grant Schubert's got his hands full right now because Jared Jensen's coming in hot in that Island Clash Marine. Yeah,
the Island Lake Marine machine with that teal, white, and checkered is continuing to push hard. But there's the one of Dustin Terry going down the back straight. You can see that rooster tail in the front. It's about a 15-boat length lead for the 17 of Dylan Anderson. He's trying to at least get back up into the rooster tail. I don't know if he's going to have enough time. Just 1 minute and 6 seconds plus 1 lap here in this opening qualifying heat in Formula 1. As the one of Terry lays it down through the chicane, he sees the 13 of Grant Schubert. Schubert is really starting to gain some ground. We better stick with that one there, because we could have a doozy of a battle for second and third here in just about a lap if the 13 of Grant Schubert can catch him. But he looks in his rear mirror, Kay, and he has got a mirror filled with the 29 of Jared Jensen.
Well, I just talked about how Grant likes to hug the buoys. Well, what he did was he did a little bit different turn 1 and 2. He went a little bit wide, shoving Jared out. Then he's going to jump back onto the inside. As you can see, Jared is trying to sneak on the inside, but unfortunately ran out of room. Going to have to go over his rooster tail, which is going to slow him down. You see he gets a little squaggly coming out of turn number 3-4.
Yeah, nice job there by the 13 of Grant Schubert. He put some good moves on there to open up some ground between him and the 29 of Jensen. The question is will he have enough room as he crosses through the wake of the one of Terry, who's sitting in second position? Can he catch this defending series champion and gain some additional points over the rest of the field here as we see the white flag is out? Go fast, turn left, just 4 more times for the one of 17 of Dylan Anderson, the man sitting out in front here. And boy, this is going to shake up points, because there's only 4 points between the 8 of Mayo and the one of Terry. Terry's now sitting in second. Mayo's down in 6th place, so we're going to have a leader swap even after the first qualifying heat with the points amassed from that qualifying heat here in Marble Falls.
As we're sitting right over Dustin Terry on our lovely drone footage. Can't see him, but he's coming in hot. That's going to be Grant Schubert. But our leader, the white flag will drop. Checkered flag will come out for the number 17, Dylan Anderson from Anderson Marine out of Nashville, Tennessee.
And finishing in second, he fought hard but just ran out of time. In second, the number 1 of Dustin Terry. And rounding out the top 3 with a valiant effort is that Captain March, number 13 of Grant Schubert.
Followed by Jared Jensen in the number 29 out of Windsor, Colorado, driving for Island Lake Marine, a Water Valley company.
And your winner from round 3 can muster only a 5th place finish here in the opening qualifying heat. That is the man they call the real deal, the number 52 of Chris Rinker, coming in 5th. And then right behind him in 6th position, the points leader coming into round number 4, that is the number 8 of Jeremiah Mayo. In 9th position, the number 92 of Dean Comer, hanging on just onto the lead lap there, and then going 1 lap down, the man finishing in 8th, the 40 of Austin Cheatham. That rounds out our finish grid for qualifying heat number 1 here in the Formula 1 class. And coming up next, our Formula Lights are coming out on the water. These are running 2-cylinder, 2-stroke OMC outboards, 45 cubic inch, making about 85 horsepower, top speeds between 80 and 85 miles an hour. A great feeder class, but some fantastic racing regardless in the Formula Lights class. But I've sent my partner Kay down to have a chat with our winner from qualifying heat number 1, the 17 of Dylan Anderson in Formula 1. What a great run it was for the XS Batteries Anderson Marine sponsored driver out of Nashville, Tennessee. And it looks like they've got him down there and ready to go here in just a minute. What a fantastic run it was. And, you know, who I was most impressed by there was the 29 of Jared Jensen. This young driver got a brand new boat in the offseason. Testing in the opening round. He had maybe 5 or 6 laps, and he blew that thing sky high. Sent it about 30, 40 feet in the air. When it came down, it hit hard. He was fine thanks to the fantastic safety cells inside all of our Formula 1 boats that kept him safe, but he broke the boat in half. Had to sit out around 2 while they acquired a backup hull. That's the one he's in now. Put it back together, and we're out for round 3. Had some gremlins, had some learning curve, but boy, a real shallow learning curve it seems like for the 29 of Jared Jensen, as he was absolutely screaming fast out there. But right now, let's go down to our qualifying Heat 1 winner in Formula 1, the 17 of Dylan Anderson. She's with Kay. Take it away, Kay.
And yesterday we had testing, and I saw you took the 2.5 and the APX. I sat down for breakfast with your dad, and I said, "What are you going to bring out?" And he goes, "Well, the winning one," and apparently it's the APX this weekend.
Yeah, we try and make a hard effort to test them both at every race course we can, unless there's some sort of crazy circumstance. Unfortunately, the 2-stroke didn't get its due this weekend. We tried to get the motor right and just never got it dialed in, so we don't know if it's faster or slower or what compared to our 4-stroke, but I ain't complaining about the 4-stroke this weekend.
I know, it seemed to work for you, but you had a 4-stroke sitting right next to you, Dustin Terry, right off of the dock. Tell our fans and put their fans into the cockpit and say, how was it to sit next to Dustin Terry knowing he was right after you?
It doesn't matter who it is. Dustin won the championship last year, so we know he's fast. Everybody out here is fast. You just send the boat to where you can, and if it's good enough, you're there, and it's all good.
Well, you send it right off to the checkered flag. Congratulations. A great way to start your weekend with a checkered flag. That'd be Dylan Anderson in the 17 Anderson Marine out of Nashville, Tennessee.
All right, what a great run for the driver affectionately known as Mike Honcho, with that Fu Manchu rocking that beautiful facial hair, the 17 of Dylan Anderson, that XS Batteries Anderson Marine sponsored machine. What a great run it was for him. Now the real work starts for the 17 of Dylan Anderson, because he's got to go last off the start pontoon to wrap up racing today in the second F1 qualifying heat. And that's what we do here on the Formula 1 Powerboat Championship Series. We make it so that you have to showcase every single skill set as a Formula 1 driver. You've got to go fast lap around the course. You've got to start from out front if you're fast. But if you win or do well in Heat 1, now you've got to run through the field in Heat number 2 to try to get yourself out in front and amass as many points as possible. So throughout our race weekend, our drivers collect points in qualifying that go towards their series championship points. 50 points for first place, and subsequently smaller amounts going all the way down. I apologize. I don't have our point system in front of me right now, and I don't want to misspeak. But the final is triple the points of any qualifying. So if you get 50 points for winning a qualifying heat, you get 150 points for winning a main event. And you see how close the points are, Kay. That means that we've got multiple drivers winning multiple different heat races within a weekend. And here through 3 rounds, we have actually seen 3 different winners here on the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. So we might see a 4th one here this weekend because the 8 of Jeremiah Mayo hasn't found it yet. The 29 of Jared Jensen clearly showing the rest of the field, hey, boys, mess around and find out. I dare you. Right?
Yeah.
and he's going to push that thing. And I think the confidence that he gained both in fast lap qualifying as well as the battle with the 52 of Chris Rinker and holding him off. He didn't hold off the 13 of Grant Schubert, but that's okay. He held off the 52 of Chris Rinker, who won round 3. So, again, a lot of points can be gained here in round 4 towards that season championship. And I have a feeling when we leave Marble Falls, we're going to have a different leaderboard than we did coming in.
I'd 100% agree because it is so close just walking in here and already seeing different winners. Like you said, qualifying, we watched some of the top qualifiers finishing a little bit lower than some of the ones that were mid-length earlier this season. But I can't. I'm trying to guess of who is going to win on each one of these classes. I'm like, maybe it's going to, but that's when I ask our race fans once again, who do you think is going to be taking the checkered flag by the end of the weekend?
Absolutely. Pick your favorite driver and stick with them all weekend long. See how it shakes out. And coming up here in just a moment, we're going to be shaking out the first qualifying heat in Formula Lights. These 2-cylinder 45 cubic inch OMC outboards brought to you by Seaway Marine. Here we're going to run their first of 2 qualifying heats today. Again, once we get through qualifying heat number 1, we're going to run them back again for the second qualifying heat in Texas Tri-Hall, in Formula One, and Formula Lights here on the Colorado River. It's the battle on the Colorado, round 4 of the 2025 Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. You got about 5 minutes or so.
Maybe.
Grab yourself a bottle of water, and hey, if you're drinking an adult beverage, why don't you swap those out? 1 adult beverage, 1 non-adult beverage, preferably a water. Would probably be the smart choice here if you are in Marble Falls. For those of you watching us from wherever you are across the world, from Thailand and Malaysia and our great fans in Southeast Asia, to all of our fellow drivers and fans in Europe and the Middle East, as well as all of our fantastic fans anywhere across the United States, we thank you so much for being here with us every week in 2025.
I can guarantee you there's some Canadians up there that are watching
Oh, yeah.
us. I
Absolutely.
bet you Aiden's sitting at home. He wanted to be here so bad, it was just he wasn't able to make this race. But, Aiden, I know you're at home listening and you're watching. He's my birthday twin with a few more years difference. Unfortunately, wasn't able to make it. It's always fun to talk about these Canadian drivers that make their way down across the border to come down here and race with us. We want to bring back some days. How about Tammy Wolf?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a name I haven't heard in a while. But, yeah, she ran back in the Formula 2 class with an Optimax on the back of her Formula 2 hull for a while. Obviously, we had the 94 of Rusty Wyatt. Never won a series championship here on the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series, but was one of the top 5 drivers for numerous years. Got an opportunity to run Formula One over in Europe. He's jumped on that opportunity running with Sharjah Formula One team. And, boy, what an impressive rookie year he had last year. I think that goes to show the depth and the skill of the drivers here on the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series, that a guy that went over to the Formula One Series in Europe and the Middle East finished just barely outside the top spot on the podium, relinquishing the series championship to a multi-time champion on that circuit, the gentleman out of Sweden, Jonas Andersson. But he gave him everything he had in his rookie season with that Sharjah team, and they're looking to make a big splash here in 2025. Also, the 94 Wyatt running E1 electric boat racing over across the seas. I know they have a stop in Miami. They've been to Monaco, all over the world there on the E1 series. So, boy, the driving prowess of our Canadian drivers that have come through the ranks is nothing short of impressive. You've also got the BC boys out in British Columbia, the likes of Mike Maskell and the rest of them. Hopefully we see them here later. It's a little bit of a tricky drive going, 26 hours from the Pacific Northwest and southwestern British Columbia all the way down here to Marble Falls, and they just weren't able to put it together here for this race, but we hopefully are going to see them at round 5. in Windsor, Colorado for the Roar of the Rockies. So I think we're going to see some of those BC boys there. We'll probably hopefully see the 98 of Aiden Benton back, as well as some of our other drivers that had some family tragedies that they were dealing with and things of that nature that allowed them to not be able, didn't allow, what made them not be able to be here for round 4.
All right, well, we were just talking about how racing is done in Europe, Australia, Sweden, all over the world. But we're lucky enough to have the best racers right here as well, giving all of our fans here at Marble Falls one heck of a show. Want to also thank you one more time. Thank you, Marble Falls, for opening up all of your beautiful park and your waterway here for us to be able to race. I know the drivers walking through the pits, I haven't heard it from like numerous ones. They're like, wow, this park is beautiful. This town is great.
I mean, it's such a unique park. I mean, where do you see a park that has a canal running through the middle of it, right? And we like it because we can launch our boats and get them on the water without having to disrupt the racing that's going on in the main part of the river. So it looks like we're waiting here a couple more minutes for our last. I think we're waiting for one more driver. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I think we've got everybody out there. I don't know what we're waiting for. I think we might be waiting for our series to get everything back in line, all of our officials making sure that the water is completely safe for these drivers. We run in some treacherous conditions.
I think we have a new entry trying to make his way onto the course down here. I think that's going to be a first. It's called a hydroplane, not a airplane, but we've got he's going to get some pretty good view down there in that seaplane down there.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
different.
It's not too often you see a seaplane land on the river about 150 yards outside your race course. I bet you he was bummed he didn't get there 5 minutes before. He would have had some fantastic overhead views of that Formula One opening qualifying heat. But looks like we've got our patrol boats out there making sure that the plane keeps itself out of the race course and away and out of harm's way. You'll notice on either end of the race course there's very tiny little small orange buoys blocking off the Colorado River on both ends. And those are what we call our outer course markers. Those outer course markers allow for the pleasure boat traffic to have a barrier or somewhere where they can ensure that they are out of harm's way. And it looks like we're getting that float plane to move its way over to its home off the race course and on the edge of the river. Not something you see very often. Very interesting to see a float plane land on the river that you're racing on. Well, there's green flag. Hot laps are going to get underway here in just a second. There's the 52 of Addison Dumford, the Franklin, Tennessee sponsored. The Franklin, Tennessee native in that number 52 machine running for Dumford Irrigation. And there goes the float plane taking off again.
He's going to go up there and go get himself a view.
Heading out of view. Yeah,
we do need to remind our fans, no drones.
Yes. Yeah. And for those of you who do have drones and you thought it would be cool to get some cool overhead shots, I get it. But unfortunately, while we're racing, our drone pilots are licensed by the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, and we cannot have any other drones running while our drone pilots are out recording the racing action that's going on. So if you brought a drone, I ask you, please, keep it in its case. I don't want to have to get the police involved. I don't want to have to be that guy. But as my colleagues can tell you, I will if I need to. But we've got the Formula lights out there running their hot laps. They're getting those two-cylinder, two-stroke OMC outboards revved up, warmed up, and ready to go. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break as we get these guys lined up on the start pontoon. We'll be right back after a short word from our sponsors.
From an early age, we race. It's part of who we are. It's in our DNA. For some, the need to keep pushing fuels our lives. At VP Racing, we pour everything we have into creating the industry's best products. For those who put it all on the line, whether it's the track or the trail or wherever you race, they say you can't win them all, but you can sure as hell try. VP Racing. Win every race.
JH Performance Boats. Custom-made, classic, shallow water boats built from scratch, offering a direct and personalized experience from start to finish. They provide exceptional service and support, having an unmatched reputation while paying close attention to detail with quality construction, expert knowledge, and outstanding performance. Mercury Racing, born from competition. Mercury Racing combines its legacy in powerboat racing and leading-edge technology to design and manufacture high-performance marine propulsion systems, powering wide-open experiences for performance boaters and competitive race teams. Mercury Racing takes you further, faster. Moto Marketing Group, accelerating brands for over 35 years. From developing some of the most famous boat and race team graphics that look fast to websites that run fast. Moto Marketing Group is your one-stop marketing shop for branding, vehicle wraps, websites, photography, and print design. They do it all professionally for a great price. Check them out online at motomarketinggroup.com. Seaway Marine, the Formula Light sponsor here in 2025 on the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series, operates out of a 62,000 square foot warehouse that is packed with current OEM parts, aftermarket parts, and vintage hard-to-find parts. They ship over 100,000 packages all over the United States, providing same-day shipping on in-stock orders. Seaway staff is arguably the most knowledgeable in the industry. With decades of experience, Seaway prides itself in excellent customer service. Make Seaway Marine your first call or text for all your marine part needs. 425-412-4006 or online at seawaymarine.com. VP Racing Fuels, the official fuel of the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. VP Racing Fuels has been the fuel choice of champions for decades. Now you can benefit from VP's expanded line of performance additives for your boat, daily driver, or weekend warrior. Learn more about their ultramarine and explore VP's full product line at vpracingfuels.com.
Racing Communications. They're radios for racing.
Seabold Sports, world champion powerboat racing since 1939. Find more on the legendary Seabold family at seaboldsports.com. All right, race fans, we've got them lined up on the start pontoon. The last boat getting turned around. That's the rookie, the young driver out of Franklin, Tennessee, running for Dumford Irrigation, the 52 of Addison Dumford. We got him lined up there on the pole. Is no surprise there, Kay. He's out of Greenfield, Wisconsin. He's been one of the toughest drivers in Formula Light's history. The 35 of Mark Schmierbach in a very, very familiar position.
You know, and I call it the ever colorful number 35. But this weekend, Mark Schmierbach, you have another special fan sitting here. That'd be my daughter. She says, I want that one to win. She pointed you out earlier because that's her softball number is 35. So, Mark Schmierbach, here you go. You got the big thumbs up. That's going to be your boy to watch out for, the 35 of Mark Schmierbach. But, you know, I also got my eye on a couple other drivers that are out there. Your teammate over there, you know, Bobalik, a rookie driver, has done phenomenal in his rookie year.
He absolutely has. And let's take a look at our starting lineup here in Formula Lights for this opening qualifying heat. On the pole, the 35 of Mark Schmierbach, looking to jump into the catbird seat here in the opening qualifying heat.
Driver we haven't seen around much in the F1 Series, but I'm glad to see you're back here is Jose Mandana, the number 21.
Third off the start pontoon. Best start for this driver in his second season in Formula Lights out of San Antonio, Texas, the number 78 of Marshall Gildermaster.
One of our rookie drivers out here is that all-yellow 52 Rinker style that's going to be driven by Addison Dumford Ayrton.
And right behind him in fifth position, that's the other half of the B&B Racing team running for pizza in the number 60 out of Crosby, Texas, Mr. Brandon Bobalik.
In the all-white with a touch of blue is going to be Travis Thompson in the number 2.
Yeah, he's got that Texas pride on the side of his Formula Lights machine. And rounding out our field here, the other half of the Mike Scott Plumbing team out of Ocala, Florida, the number 26 of Steve Lee. All right, looks like we've got them lined up, ready to go. I'm just going to swing out here, make sure I can take a peek with Chief Referee Doug Ray. We're going to get a test flag out here in a moment so that our drivers can see where that flag is being dropped from inside the race course. And then just like we did in Formula Ones, they're going to go through the middle of the course all the way down to the bridge, underneath the far end of the turns 3 and 4 through the bridge. Once they come back here we go. Test flag is up. There's the big orange flag that they're going to be looking at. And we are coming up on the 1-minute gun. 1 minute, drivers, 1 minute. Can the 35 of Mark Schmierbach from pole position find that clean water and come out on top here in qualifying heat number 1? 50 seconds, drivers, 50 seconds. Or will it be the 21 in that Mike Scott Plumbing of Jose Mendana Jr.? Can he get off the dock real quick and get out in front? 40 seconds, drivers, 40 seconds. Or will the surprise of the day be the 78 of Marshall Gildermaster finding his best finish in a Formula Light here in qualifying heat number 1? 30 seconds, drivers, 30 seconds. Or could it be the 2 of Travis Thompson, the 26 of Steve Lee, or the 52 of Addison Dumford? Let's see who's going to take qualifying heat number 1 here in Formula Lights. 20 seconds, drivers. You're under starters orders. The flag is up. Oh, quick jump there off the flag. Oh, no, the 78 of Gildermaster and the 2 of Thompson don't start. Great jump there by the 35 of Schmierbach, but he's got a rear view mirror, or a right mirror full of the 21 of Jose Mendana Jr., who's going to make it down to the far end of the course.
Well, I'm pretty sure Jose is going to be coming up quick, but Mark Schmierbach is going in tight on that inside lane. But look on the outside. We've got 2 yellows side by side, and look at the move that Addison just made coming in on the inside of the 26, driven by Steve Lee.
Boy, Addison Dumford now going side by side with the 26 of Lee. He puts the hammer down, coming down the front straightaway. They're all trying to catch the man from Greenfield, Wisconsin. They're cutting through the sprays. The 21 of Mendana goes wide to the outside. Then it's the 60 of Bobalik, and the 26 of Steve Lee is now starting to get up on him. Looks like the 78 of Gildermaster flashes the bottom of the screen. He finally able to get it powered, but the 2 of Travis Thompson left on the dock, frustrated as all get up, is the young driver out of Humboldt, Texas.
Yeah, that is unfortunate, but look, got it started. We're going to come back out onto the course, and he's going to have to do it quick because he's going to have to go on the outside a little bit, giving our leader, Mark Schmierbach, the running start on the inside, followed by the 21 of Carlos Mendana, followed by the 60 of Bobalik and the Pizza Inn.
Ooh, he's going to be mad at you for that one.
Jose
Jose is going to be mad at you for that one.
His
but
dad.
No, that's his brother's Carlos.
Well, I know,
Jose
but
Sr.,
his
Jose
dad.
Jr.,
I know,
and
that's what he
Carlos.
said.
Carlos no longer runs tunnel boats. He's out back in Florida. I think he's racing some sort of cars.
Yes.
Is what his passions are these days. But look at the 21 of Mendana, and then you look wide to the outside. That's the 60 of Brandon Bobalik. The 60 of Bobalik is really trying to fight hard. There's the 2 of Thompson as well, who's finally started to pick up some speed, but it's really become a 2-boat race here in Formula Lights. You know, the one thing we're missing, obviously, that we haven't talked about, the 24 of Shelby Love and the 12 of Trident Schleicher not here for this weekend. We'll get into that a little bit more tomorrow, but not here. And this is a big, big opening for the 35 of Mark Schmierbach, and he's doing exactly what he needed to do, which come out, qualify on the pole, and try to win qualifying heat number 1 and collect those valuable points. And boy, he is way out in front as the 21 of Mendana Jr. just, I don't know if he's going to have the answer for him here in qualifying heat number 1.
You know, I have it in for him because that kid really races fast. I guess he's not really a kid anymore, but he has been for a couple years. We got a blue and white flag out, which means that there is an issue on the back part. It looks like Travis Thompson unable to get out onto the course. He's going to be laying out there on the outside of the course, but this tells our drivers that there is a boat that is not under power out onto the course to keep an eye out for him. All of our drivers do have radio personnel on the beach that are also relaying these messages to them as they make their way around the course. Boats are starting to get spread out, but our leader is down the backstretch, the ever-colorful number 35, driven by Mark Schmierbach.
As he comes out of turn number 2 now, walking it down the back straightaway, 65, 70, 75, 80 plus miles an hour. It's a nice sweeping turn there through turn number 3. Now he's going to come up on turn number 4. It's kind of a boxy half-mile course here for these Formula Lights, very square-shaped instead of the more elongated oval that the Formula One class runs. Again, a little less power, a little shorter course, but these drivers still in that 29 to 32 second range here on the shores of the Colorado River. But it is all Mark Schmierbach here in the opening qualifying heat. Is way out in front, and Mendana is kind of staying with him, but I just don't know if he's going to have that top end power to catch the 35 of Schmierbach unless he can get into some of the back markers.
Just with over 2.5 minutes left into this heat, he has shortened up the gap just a little bit, but it looks like Mark Schmierbach is going to have the top end speed, able to make his way around the course, and in lane 2, maybe 3, but it looks like Mendana is going to hold on to that inside lane. Now, we talked about this earlier with the Formula Ones. Now, we're going to talk about it with the Formula Lights. Back traffic is now going to be an issue, and that is exactly what Mendana wanted, because these
Absolutely.
two drivers are not going to give up that inside lane very easily to the 35 of Mark Schmierbach, which will close the gap between first and second.
Yeah, absolutely. The 21 of Mendana, he knows that he may not have it here in heat number 1, but as long as he can amass enough points throughout qualifying to put himself in a good position, even if he doesn't start on the pole, he knows that in that longer main event, the 15 minutes plus 1 lap main event tomorrow afternoon in Formula Lights, they are going to get into more of those back markers, and that's really where the 21 of Mendana shines in that Mike Scott plumbing machine.
Talked about this back traffic, and this is where it comes into effect. Golden Master did not get the inside, shoving Mark to the outside. He's going to have to take the longer way around the course, and as you can see, he just got a gulp of water. Mendana is still sitting in some pretty clean water, able to make his own lane choices at this time, closing the gap between first and second. So out on the course, our leader, halfway down that backstretch, is the 35 of Mark Schmierbach, followed by Mendana in the Mike Scott Plumbing in the number 21. Third, one of our rookie drivers out there, it's going to be Bobolic. And then number 60, Pizza Inn, Jerry's Marine.
Absolutely. Now you see the 35 of Schmierbach continue to have to go wide to the outside. This is going to make it very difficult for him to keep that gap between him and the 21 of Mendana. Look, Mendana goes tight to the inside. Now we're down inside of 4 boat lengths between the 35 of Schmierbach, who continues to battle with the 78 of Marshall Gildermaster, who has not given him an inch. The driver out of San Antonio is like, listen, man, I'm going short way around the course, pin to pin. My boat didn't fire. I started in third. I got to try to make up as much ground as possible, and there is not a chance that I'm going to give you an inch of room, as the 21 of Mendana is now all over the 35 of Mark Schmierbach, Kay.
Mendana tried to jump on the inside of Schmierbach. Schmierbach closed the door, and now he's going to have to go on the outside. So he's going to jump right back on the inside. We're going to have a race for first and second as they make their way out of turn 2 down the backstretch. Mendana gets a big gulp of water, gets blinded coming out of turn 2.
Doused down there coming out of turn number 2. But they're continuing to push hard, and Gildermaster is not going anywhere. And it's not like Gildermaster has anywhere to go, because right in front of him, he's trying to catch the 52 of Addison Dumford. There's battles all over the course now. Look at, they go almost 3 wide coming out of turn number 4. Now Mendana goes down the inside, doesn't have any room, and then slingshots it way wide to the outside here on the final lap. Are we going to have a final lap dash for cash here in the qualifying heat number 1 between the 35 of Schmierbach and the 21 of Mendana, as they finally are able to get by the 78 of Marshall Gildermaster down the backstretch out of turn number 2.
Mendana doing everything he can to fight his way through turn 2 and 3, knowing he has a half a lap to go because the white flag is out. But our leader, the number 35, still trying to do everything he can to keep Mendana on the backside, but the white flag will drop, checker flag will come out. Thomas, bring him down to the finish line.
As he goes wide out of turn number 4 on lane number 3, ladies and gentlemen, going to wire here in Formula Lights, number 35, Mark Schmierbach.
Followed by the 21 with a great run. I mean, he came back there from about a 6 boat behind Mark Schmierbach and was able to close that gap so close by the end. Just needed like 1 or 2 more laps.
Absolutely. In third position, the other half of the B&B Pizza Inn Racing team, the number 60 of Brandon Bobolic, followed by the 26 of Steve Lee, the other half of the Mike Scott Plumbing team. And then rounding out in the field as he sweeps it through turn number 4 in his second race in his young career, the 52 of Addison Dumford, followed by the 78 of Marshall Gildermaster, and unfortunately a DNF for the number 2 of Travis Thompson, as he is getting towed in off the race course in that number 2 machine. Boy, what a run it was for the 35 of Mark Schmierbach, but he had a scare there at the end as the 21 of Mendana Jr., the driver I used to call the Miami Madman when he made his home in Miami, Florida. Now he's up in the Tampa area, not Orlando. Sorry about that, Jose. So switched that over to the Tampa Terror. Gave it a run there in that Mike Scott plumbing machine all the way to the very end. Got it down to about a boat length and a half and just ran out of time here in qualifying. But that is a good showing for him, and got to make him feel really good about what's to come, especially our main event. Because, hey, it's nice to win a qualifying heat. It's a heck of a lot better when you get to win the main event tomorrow afternoon. And that's what the 21 of Mendana, traveling all the way from Tampa, Florida, that's where his goals were set. It was a long drive from Florida. You got to go up all the way around the Gulf. It's probably a good 15, 20 hours or something along that from Tampa over here to Marble Falls. And so he's looking to bring some well-earned hardware back to Florida if he can at the conclusion of this weekend. Well, making his way down to the start pontoon, hopefully to have a chance to chat with our Kay Myers, is the 35 of Mark Schmierbach. But let's take a look while he's getting out of the cockpit. What's coming up next here as we continue to roll through Saturday qualifying at the Battle on the Colorado in Marble Falls, Texas. Up next, the second heat of Tri-Hall. Bumper boats at 65 miles an hour. They do 7 laps, reverse order of points. Then we bring the Formula Lights back out and then wrap up the day with our second qualifying heat in Formula One, the 8 minutes plus 1 lap. Again, all qualifying heats from here on out will be reverse order of points finish. That means the 35 of Mark Schmierbach is going to have to run through the field, and he's going to have to get around the 21 of Mendana, as Mendana is going to start in a better position in Heat 2 due to his second place finish here in the opening qualifying heat in Formula Lights. All right, looks like he's finally been able to hopefully get out of the cockpit. It is a warm one inside these cockpits. Again, all our safety cells are carbon fiber, and so it's very hot inside there, and it looks like he's just going to stay in the boat, and Kay's going to hop on the side deck of that Formula Lights machine, and we're going to turn it down to my partner in crime as she's got a word with our qualifying heat number 1 winner, the 35 of Mark Schmierbach. Take it away, Kay. All right, well, it looks like our microphone battery might have gone dead there in that Formula Lights interview with Kay and the 35 of Mark Schmierbach. But what a great run it was for the 35 of Mark Schmierbach. He went wire to wire there in qualifying heat number 1, had his hands full with the 21 of Mendana Jr., especially right there at the end as he was trying to get by the 78 of Marshall Gildermaster and put him a lap down, was able to finally get by, but not before that gap got closed big time by the 21 of Mendana, and he almost got by, but he was able to hang on. Now, let's see if we can send it back down to Kay as she chats with our winner from qualifying heat number 1 in Formula Lights. Kay?
Okay, we're going to try this one more time. As you can see on the live stream, I've got Mark Schmierbach, the 35. Give us a rundown of how it was to be inside the cockpit on that last couple laps when you had Mendana Jr. right on your back hip.
Well, that's the advantage of running second. Is he's waiting for me to go wide against trying to pass the back markers, and he's in the catbird seat. Lucky I got a good run there on the last 2 laps on the 78 boat, and I was able to get around him there at the end. Took a little harder than I thought, but we did finally get around him.
Yeah, you had to do everything you could to try and get around back traffic and keep him behind you. You did a great job. We talked about this before the race even started. You have a special little racing fan right here behind me. My daughter's cheering you on for the number 35. What do you got to say to her?
Finally, I got a big fan. Yay! That's great. And the family is all here, and the Bobolic clan. So this is great. This is a great win for them.
Great win. Great way to start your day. Mark Schmierbach in the 35 Pizza Inn takes the first checkered flag for Formula Lights. Back to you, Tom.
All right. Thanks, Kay. The 35 of Mark Schmierbach, an engineer Monday through Friday, so not necessarily the most talkative of human beings, but always has got a good nugget of wisdom or two, and fought hard. Didn't expect the 78 of Gildermaster to give him as much trouble as he did, but that's good for the 78 of Gildermaster as he continues to hone his skills in that Formula Light machine as he is in his second season here on the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. Well, the Formula Lights are going to be there off the water. We're going to bring the Texas Tri-Hulls back up here in just a minute, as they're going to bring up bumper boats at 65 miles an hour here on the shores of the Colorado River. And it looks like now we've got some T-shirts that are making their way down here in Marble Falls as they make their way across the beach and down to all our fans here on the water level. Don't forget to get up near the edge of the water over here on the beach. Catch your free Marble Falls Battle on the Colorado T-shirts. We got that big, beautiful JH Performance boat, thankfully provided by one of the leaders here of round number 4, Chris Kiefer, in his fantastic Outlaw with that Suzuki on the back. JH Performance boats are a fantastic shallow water bay boat built with the highest quality materials. You can find them at jhperformance.com or sportmarine.com. Built by the Schubert family in their shop in Richmond, Texas. It's the only boats they sell. They build them themselves. Their warranty is fantastic. Their customer service is second to none. And they're out there chucking some T-shirts to all of our fans here in Marble Falls for round 4. So don't forget to jump on down, see if you can't grab yourself a free T-shirt here from the Battle on the Colorado. All right, well, we've got a few more minutes here before the Texas Tri-Hulls come back out on the water. Make sure you keep yourself hydrated, folks. It is a warm one. Yes, the clouds are in the air, and it looks like we might have some rain coming in potentially. I was just about to check my weather app to see what we got coming in. Had to make a run for some audio parts yesterday, last night into Austin, and boy, there was a doozy of a storm. But it looks like the storms are actually just kind of hopefully stay clear of us. We might catch a little bit of it, but it looks like for the most part through the rest of the afternoon, we're going to stay maybe a little bit cooler.
Oh, thank goodness.
I mean, if 92 is cooler than 96, which technically it is, I don't necessarily know how much cooler it feels, but it looks like we might be able to hold off on the storms here in the qualifying day here at the Battle on the Colorado in Marble Falls. We got Tri-Hull Heat 2 coming up next, so grab yourself something to drink. Make sure you, again, beer, water for those adults out there. For everybody else,
Margarita.
Get yourself a Kona shaved ice, an ice-cold lemonade. Grab yourself some kettle corn, some cotton candy. They've got fantastic brisket sandwiches. They've got gyros. They've got falafels. There's all sorts of fantastic food from the great vendors here at the Battle on the Colorado in Marble Falls. We'll be right back with the conclusion of qualifying in the Texas Tri-Hull class here for round 4 of the 2025 Formula One Powerboat Championship Series here in Marble Falls. It's the Battle on the Colorado. All right, race fans, as the wind kicks up here on the shores of the Colorado River, the Texas Tri-Hulls are ready to do battle here for their second qualifying heat. 7 laps around this 2-pin, 1/3 mile course here on the shores of the Colorado River at round 4 of the 2025 series. Let's take a look at that starting lineup on the inside of row 1. That's the 42 of Wyatt Zeller in the Diamond Z Reynolds machine, followed by the 54 of Darren Caddy Ware on the outside of row 1. On the inside of row 2, the 33 of John Ottinger. And the outside of row 2, the 17 of Neil Marsh. There's your top 4. We're waiting for green flag racing. He drops the flag, and we're underway here in qualifying heat number 2 in Texas Tri-Hull. Can the 42 of Wyatt Zeller run out in front? But look at all those fast boats come wide to the outside. We've got about 6, 7 deep in the corner here as they go down to through turn number 1. Who's going to come out in front? Looks like it might be the 33 of John Ottinger. No, here comes the 10 of Tanner Rinker, your back-to-back winner in rounds 2 and round 3 here on the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series in Texas Tri-Hull, and he's looking to go for the trifecta here in Marble Falls. He finds a line of clean water, and he comes out like a rocket. He started 5th. He started 6th. He's all the way up to 1st. The 10 of Tanner Rinker's putting on a show here, Kay.
You know, he made a great move out of that turn 1, just sneaking on the inside, being able to get around the rest of the fleet. We talk about water conditions right now. It is rough out there, but this is what these drivers look for. But look at what happened. Tanner Rinker has got a sizable lead, and all of these drivers are still trying to bunch together to get around. And it looks to me like Corey Walker is going to make a run for it on the number 1 on the outside, but here comes 17 and Neil Marsh at the same time.
Yeah, there's the 33 of John Ottinger tight to the inside, the 1 of Corey Walker wide to the outside there. Right behind them, the 17 of Neil Marsh, and the 42 of Wyatt Zeller, the 54 of Darren Ware.
A great run still. First and second on the inside is that green machine of Ottinger.
Yeah,
being
that John Deere
hard.
green, baby. Because he's pushing hard, and he's fighting his first race here in 2025. He's actually, for his work, he's been stationed up in Idaho. And, oh, no, looks like that's the 13 of Grant Schubert. He tried to get on the race course, was having some technical difficulties. That is not what you want to see if you're the series points leader here in this tight Texas Tri-Hull battle for the championship in 2025.
And it looks like we also lost the mullet of 69 sitting right here in the front stretch. We got boats going all over the place.
Well,
this is going to be an interesting final.
It is a war of attrition in Texas Tri-Hull, and it is all Tanner Rinker right now as the 1 of Corey Walker and the 33 of John Ottinger doing battle. There's the 69 and that Burnshausen oil-sponsored entry of Cole Mullet Waring dead in the water down inside of turn number 1. But you see there flashing is the 10 of Tanner Rinker, and then there's the 13 of Grant Schubert. He's way wide on the outside, but smart. The 13 of Schubert at least now started the race, which means he's going to collect some points, and some points is better than none. That is an absolute veteran move by the driver who's sitting out in the first in points here in the season standings in Texas Tri-Hull.
Can't really see what might be happening. We've seen this before where these drivers have had motors coming loose, where they've had steering wheel issues. Looks like he might try and stay out on the course, and he might just try and hold out on the outside. Never know what's going to happen. Unfortunately, it's like Cole the Mullet Waring is still sitting in the middle of this course with the best view, but not the best view for a driver.
Absolutely. It looks like there's the 17 of Neil Marsh. He's sitting in 3rd position as he's trying to hang on and somehow find a way to catch the 1 of Corey Walker.
That's still a great run. Your leader is halfway down that backstretch. That's going to be the all-black Jerry Rinker style number 10, driven by his grandson, Tanner Rinker, followed by the number 1, driven by Corey Walker. 33, John Ottinger. White flag is out. 1 lap to go. Can this young kid hold this number 10 into the lead as they make their way into that traffic?
Look at how rough the water is getting here on the shores of the Colorado. They're getting airborne out there in Texas Tri-Hull, which is what they do. The 10 of Tanner Rinker with a beautiful turn in 1 there, keeping it the speed up and keeping it cruising. There you see flash on the bottom of the screen there. That was the 1 of Corey Walker. He's the boat sitting out in 2nd place. And then it's the 33 of John Ottinger sitting in 3rd. And then the 17 of Neil Marsh in 4th. But here's our leader, the 10 of Tanner Rinker. He comes wide to the outside off of turn number 2. And he's done it the last 2 races. He's looking to do it here again. Taking qualifying heat number 2. Running for Rinker Boat World and Mastercraft Boats, the number 10 of Tanner Rinker.
Followed by Corey Walker with a great run in that 2nd place. And then in the bright green monster, we'd call it John Deere green is what you're calling it, Minnesota man. It's going to be John Ottinger in the number 33.
Absolutely. And then rounding out the top 5 in 4th, the 17 of Neil Marsh. And a good battle there by the 26 of Briston Sherman in 5th. Our winner from qualifying heat number 1, the 12 of Jack Schubert in 6th. Then the 42 of Wyatt Zeller, followed by the 88 of Josh Wells, the 54 of Darren Ware. And then rounding out the field here with a brutally slow finish and a very rough go of it here in qualifying heat number 2 is the 13 of Grant Schubert. Well, that's going to wrap it up for Texas Tri-Hall Racing here on the Colorado River in 2025 here for the Battle on the Colorado. And hopefully we can, Kay's going to make it her way down there and have a chat with the 10 of Tanner Rinker. What a great run by that young driver out of Spring, Texas. What a great overhead shot there by the great folks at Live Race Media. You can see there's the channel that all the boats can go back down into. It's been a godsend here at Marble Falls, allowing our boats to launch while other classes are racing. It's really helped us keep on or ahead of schedule. We actually were 15 minutes ahead of schedule going into that Texas Tri-Hall second qualifying heat here on Saturday. And they're going to make their way back down the canal, back towards the pits. And we're going to bring the Formula lights back out here in just a minute. We're going to have to let this water calm down just a little bit as the water got rough here on the Colorado, churned up by these Texas Tri-Hulls. As we make our way overhead with our drone, we can see the 69 of Cole Waring getting towed in. He's on top of the roll cage on that 69 Burdenshausen oil-sponsored entry, getting towed in. Frustrated as he's got to be with that tuxedo underneath the driving suit. He's got to be so frustrated, is the 69 of Cole Waring, because he was running so well there. I think he had started 6th or 7th, and he'd made his way up into the top 4 before that motor went dead down in turn number 1, or just outside of turn number 1, and had required him to pull off the race course. It looks like we're just waiting. We're waiting for one more moment here. Now we're going to send it down. Hang on for dear life, Kay, as she's with our winner, the 10 of Tanner Rinker.
Oh, my goodness. You know, you have roughed this water up. I'm having a hard time holding on to this boat, so we're going to have to make this pretty quick so I can get you back out. You know, yesterday I saw your dad with his head in the bottom of this boat. You had some boat damage earlier. What happened?
So the stringers on the back of the boat were ripping off, so we had to get under there and grind it all out, patch it with some fiberglass, and we're rocking and rolling now.
Definitely rocking and rolling out here on this course. What are you thinking about this? It's your first time here at Marble Falls. What do you think about this new course?
It's definitely a beautiful race course. Pretty rough, but so far liking it.
All right, well, you were liking the win at Shreveport, liking this win here today for the second heat of Tri-Halls. You got some race fans at home listening in. What do you got to say to those Rinker Boat World fans?
Shout out to y'all for letting me get out here. Love you, boys.
Congratulations. We're going to ship you on out, put that bucket back on your head, and go back down that canal. Congratulations, Tanner Rinker, the number 10, Rinker Boat World.
All right, that was the winner from qualifying Heat 2, and he has been on an absolute tear in Texas Tri-Hall. He won round 2 in Shreveport, Louisiana. He won round 3 in Alton, Illinois at the Alton Midwest Nationals. And if we take a look at points in the Texas Tri-Hall class, after a rough start to the season, which had him in, I think, 13th or 12th position after the opening round, the 10 of Tanner Rinker coming into this weekend found himself a little over 100 points behind the 13 of Grant Schubert. Well, if you guys recall, were watching this race here, Grant Schubert finished last. And he finished middle of the pack in heat number 1. I don't know if the 10 of Tanner Rinker ended up finishing ahead of him, but he is closing the gaps with points on those top 3 boats, the 13 of Grant Schubert, the 17 of Neil Marsh, and the 26 of Briston Sherman. So the 10 of Tanner Rinker looking to get after it and try to do more damage and move his way up, but one more spot on the season point standings here in Texas Tri-Hall. But boy, the wind is really starting to pick up here in Marble Falls. We've got storms all around Marble Falls, but Mother Nature doing her best to allow us to continue the racing program here this afternoon, as the storms seem to be kind of missing us on either sides. We're surrounded. You pull up your weather app, you're going to see we're surrounded by little storms. We've had some wind from the fringes of those storms make their way here to downtown Marble Falls, but not quite yet has the lightning, thunder, and a lot of wind made its way here to the shores of Colorado. We're hoping it just can hang on for just a couple of more heat races is coming up next. We've got the Formula Lights back out on the water for their reverse order of Heat 1 finish and their second qualifying heat here this afternoon. All right, looks like I'm getting word from race director Chris Kiefer and chief referee Doug Ray that we are monitoring the weather conditions surrounding Marble Falls, and we are confident that we are going to be able to get the rest of the program in. It looks like that weather, while close, is going to just move around the city of Marble Falls. Good to see that we're going to be able to get in the rest of racing here this afternoon.
Just a couple weeks ago, Texas was hit with some major flooding. We all watched it on the news. They're in all of our thoughts and prayers for, regrouping themselves as families. And tonight at the Bear Creek Brewery, they are going to be doing a wonderful thing. It's called Roundup for Flood. 100% of all of the donations and tips, everything goes to Arc of the Highland Lakes. So make sure you make yourself down to Bear King Brewery tonight and get yourself a What's Up Chuck burger. I think you're going to be liking that. And some of our team members will be down there. A lot of our crews will be down there. So this is a great opportunity for you to meet some of the team members, some of the drivers, maybe even, get an autograph or two. But make sure that you round up for the flooding at the Bear King Brewery tonight, right after racing.
Yeah, what do they mean by round up for flooding? It means that every bill, they're going to round up to the next dollar, and that change is going to be donated to the flood relief efforts here from Central Texas. We all of us who have ascended here to Marble Falls, we watch what happened to all the great folks here in the Hill Country in Central Texas, and our heart goes out to everybody who had to deal with that. And we're glad that you guys could come out and have some fun and enjoy some fun on the water here, because the water hasn't necessarily been the greatest to the folks of Central Texas and the folks in Hill Country here in 2025. But we know that you're a strong group of people, and they've rallied together, and they're taking care of their own. And we're so excited that we get to be a part of the help that can try to drive some funds back to those who desperately need it in this time of tragedy here in Central Texas. All right, we've got our first Formula Light out on the water. It is the 52 of Addison Dumford in that Dumford irrigation machine. We're going to get the rest of the Formula Lights out on the water here. We're going to take a quick commercial break, wet your whistle, grab yourself something to eat. We'll be right back with the conclusion of Formula Lights qualifying on Saturday here at Round 4 of the 2025 Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. This is the battle on the Colorado. We'll be right back after this.
From an early age, we race. It's part of who we are. It's in our DNA. For some, the need to keep pushing fuels our lives. At VP Racing, we pour everything we have into creating the industry's best products. For those who put it all on the line, whether it's the track or the trail or wherever you race, they say you can't win them all, but you can sure as hell try. VP Racing. Win every race.
JH Performance Boats. Custom-made, classic, shallow water boats built from scratch, offering a direct and personalized experience from start to finish. They provide exceptional service and support, having an unmatched reputation while paying close attention to detail with quality construction, expert knowledge, and outstanding performance. Mercury Racing. Proud to introduce the Apex platform of engines and the 250 APX competition outboard to Formula One Powerboat Championship Racing. This new 4.6-liter V8 model offers added torque and acceleration to take race teams to the next level. Let's welcome Mercury Racing 250 APX to the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. Moto Marketing Group, accelerating brands for over 35 years. From developing some of the most famous boat and race team graphics that look fast to websites that run fast. Moto Marketing Group is your one-stop marketing shop for branding, vehicle wraps, websites, photography, and print design. They do it all professionally for a great price. Check them out online at motomarketinggroup.com. Seaway Marine, the Formula Light sponsor here in 2025 on the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series, operates out of a 62,000 square foot warehouse that is packed with current OEM parts, aftermarket parts, and vintage hard-to-find parts. They ship over 100,000 packages all over the United States, providing same-day shipping on in-stock orders. Seaway staff is arguably the most knowledgeable in the industry. With decades of experience, Seaway prides itself in excellent customer service. Make Seaway Marine your first call or text for all your marine part needs. 425-412-4006 or online at seawaymarine.com. Seabold Sports, world champion powerboat racing since 1939. Find more on the legendary Seabold family at seaboldsports.com.
Racing Communications. They're radios for racing.
VP Racing Fuels, the official fuel of the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. VP Racing Fuels has been the fuel choice of champions for decades. Now you can benefit from VP's expanded line of performance additives for your boat, daily driver, or weekend warrior. Learn more about their ultramarine and explore VP's full product line at vpracingfuels.com. All right, race fans, welcome back. We've got the Formula Light drivers, got about a handful of them on the water waiting for the last couple to jump out from the canal out onto the main river here on the shores of the Colorado as we go reverse order of points. And so what that looks like is the driver who won qualifying heat number 1, that was the 35 of Mark Schmierbach. He's going to start last on the start pontoon, minus the 52 of Addison Dumford. Again, we put restrictions on rookie drivers until they have completed a certain amount of laps. It's actually 5 race weekends. Once they've completed 5 race weekends, they are able to run in the spot they've qualified in. But until that point, the 52 of Addison Dumford's going to find himself last on the start pontoon all weekend long, and that's okay. He's out here learning, trying to get some valuable lap times in. He knows he's probably not going to be one of the top front runners here in Formula Lights, but hopefully by the end of 2025, we're going to see that number 52 machine fighting for podium finishes as the Rinker Racing family adds another branch, the Tennessee branch, to their racing family prowess that has dominated tunnel boat racing for decades here in the United States.
So race fans, you can see that yellow number 26 driven by Steve Lee. He's kind of pointed out towards you. This is your opportunity to give him a wave. Let's see if we can get him to wave back, but you all need to stand up and give that 26 a big wave and see if you can get him to wave back. I know you might be able to hear me. I don't see you guys standing up and waving around enough. I know it's hot, but wave around your drink, wave around your barbecue, your brisket, as you were saying. And I saw there were some pretty deep, some big pickles that were out there. Your Kona ice, your lemonade. Let's give him a big wave and see if you can wave him back. Also, good opportunity for you to take a picture of our Steve Lee in the number 26. Throw it across your social media and say you were here for Battle on the Colorado at Marble Falls, Texas.
Yeah, don't forget to tag at F1 Powerboat Racing. You can find us on all the social media outlets, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. On our YouTube channel, make sure you smash that subscribe button and follow us wherever we are throughout the calendar year here in the United States as we go live on our YouTube channel for both Saturday and Sunday's racing. Here right now, we are live to all of our fans all over the world on our YouTube channel. We're going to be continuing that for the rest of 2025 and beyond. But we're just waiting for the final couple of boats here to get on the water here in Formula Lights. Looks like we've got 1, 2, 3. We're waiting for the other half of the field here in Formula Lights. I don't know what's taking them so long. I really, honestly, I'm a little annoyed with our drivers right now, okay? They've got that beautiful channel back there from the boat ramp out to the main river. These guys should be chomping at the bit, waiting at the end of the canal when the heat before them finishes so they can get out on the water. I get that, every driver wants one more minute. Give me one more second. Let me tighten one more bolt. Let me check, one more thing. And that's probably what they're doing down there. But as an announcer, very frustrating. I would love to have seen all of our Formula Lights drivers out on the water right now, but they are not. And we are just waiting for those last few before we get underway with this second qualifying heat in Formula Lights.
We have ideal water conditions going on right here. I was talking to one of the riders yesterday in the ride and drive. You call it ride and drive when you get on the two-seater. And we had really good water conditions yesterday. And he's like, this is perfect. It's like flat water. Well, these drivers don't want perfectly flat water
No.
because the boat will actually stick to the water. So as I'm looking out onto this course, I'm saying this is like ideal. Just enough of a ripple. The sun is tucked behind the clouds, so they're not having to deal with the glare as well. We've got perfect conditions out here on the water, getting ready for the Formula Lights to head back out onto the course. I'm excited to see what's going to happen when they start getting these boats out on the water. It speeds at over 80 miles per hour. So if you have a need for speed, go to F1 Powerboat Racing and see how you can get involved in racing, and maybe you can be in the cockpit of 2026 Battle on the Colorado. We're looking forward to coming back again next year. We're only in the 4th round of our Formula Powerboat Racing, and if you are looking at your phone, make sure you scroll down on your social media and look us up. Gives you some of the stats that Thomas and I keep talking about. Previous races, great footage that we have been blessed to have this year.
Absolutely. All our footage brought to you by our media partner, Live Race Media, out of Green Bay, Wisconsin. They're with us every race throughout the 2025 calendar year and provide us some fantastic overhead shots from our awesome drone pilots that get right on top of the drivers. Boy, what great footage they bring to all of our fans across the world, as well as here in Marble Falls. And all our new fans here in Marble Falls, as we are at the inaugural Battle on the Colorado Round 4 of the 2025 series. We'll be right back with our starting lineups and the commencement of qualifying heat number 2 here in Formula Lights at the 2025 Battle on the Colorado. All right, race fans, we've got our Formula lights lined up on the start pontoon as we're ready to get underway. Had to tie down some of our buoys here, but with the wind picking up and everything here on the Colorado as we've got storms all around us, but none here in Marble Falls, which is absolutely fantastic. A nice little cool down from the intense heat that is a part of everyday life in August in Texas as a whole. I don't care where you are. It is hot in the entire state of Texas in August. I think back home in Minnesota, I think the high is 78 this weekend.
For me at home in the Pacific Northwest in the Seattle area, I think we're hitting about 65. But we did have 90s in the last couple weeks. I know that's unusual.
You people freak out up there when it hits 90 degrees. We once had a race at the Seattle Sea Fair that's going on this weekend. This was back, 10 years ago. And I'll never forget, it was a high of 89. And every news outlet that you turned on in the morning was like, heat advisory, make sure you cover yourself in sunscreen and you're only outside for small increments of time. And I'm like, it's not even 90 degrees. I'm like, people in Texas would laugh hysterically if they heard what these news outlets were saying. And then here we are hanging out in the heat of in the Texas heat in August. And, boy, I got to say, it's become quite nice.
They would probably come to Seattle in Eskimo outfits, and we would all be out there in tank tops and shorts jumping in the coldest river possible.
Correct. Hey, you know what? That's the beauty about the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. All right, here we go. 1 minute drivers, 1 minute. Again, we're doing reverse order of points here in qualifying heat number 2. So on the pole, the man out of Humboldt, Texas, the number 2 of Travis Thompson. 50 seconds, drivers, 50 seconds. Can the 78 of Marshall Gildermaster make up for heat 1 where he didn't come off the dock? Can he come off the dock here in heat 2 and find his way to the top spot? We're going to find out here in just a little bit. 40 seconds, drivers, 40 seconds. Then it's the 26 of Steve Lee. Decent start, finished middle of the pack. Can he move himself up a couple of spots here in this second qualifying heat in Formula Lights? 30 seconds, drivers, 30 seconds. Then it's the 60 of Brandon Bobolic, the 21 of Jose Mendaña Jr., and our winner, the 35 of Schmierbach from heat number 1. Let's see who's going to wrap it up for Formula Lights here in qualifying heat number 2. 20 seconds, drivers, you're under starters orders. The flag is up. He drops the flag. He held on to it for a while. Oh, no, the 78 of Gildermaster doesn't fire right away. The 21 of Mendaña gets a great jump. So does Lee and the 60 of Bobolic, as well as the 35 of Schmierbach, as they're all going to go down to the far end of the course. Who's going to come out on top, Kay?
You know, it's a ball game right now because as they're making their way down in that first turn, we've got a flip-flop of drivers. We've got Carlos on the inside. We've got Mark on the outside. And, you know, we're going to have to see as they make their way down through that first turn and down to the front straightaway. And it looks like Mendaña is going to take the lead. He is doing a wonderful job throwing a little bit of rooster tail over at Mark Schmierbach, blinding him as much as he can, but keep an eye out on the inside lane. We've got the 26. He is doing everything he can to hold on to that inside lane. That's
absolutely. And, one half of the Mike Scott Plumbing team, he's going to stay inside so that the 35 of Schmierbach can't use that inside line to go short way around the course. The 21 of Mendaña, oh no, it looks like the 60 of Bobolic. Looks like he might have. It looks like he got a trim issue. That motor is stuck all the way out, and he's going to have to pull off. That's got to be frustrating for the driver out of Crosby, Texas, who's got a lot of family here in town for the Battle of the Colorado. Look at the 26 of Steve Lee. He comes out of nowhere down tight to the inside, and he's deck to deck with the 35 of Schmierbach. It looks like the 26 of Lee turns really well, but doesn't quite have that same top end. But, boy, he is fighting hard as they're looking to go 1-2 Mike Scott Plumbing here in qualifying heat number 2.
You know, that would be some team advantages right there because right now 26 of Steve Lee is holding Mark Schmierbach on the outside. That is making it so that Carlos is able to get a bigger lead. You know, it is team play when it comes to NASCAR, along when it comes to boat racing.
Absolutely, but the 35 of Mark Schmierbach gave him barely just enough room. Squeezed the 26 of Steve Lee way tight to the pin there, coming out of turn number 3. Shut the door on him, and now he's got back open some clean water. But, boy, I don't care if you're 1 boat length, 5 boat lengths, or side by side. If you want to get into a battle, the 21 of Mendaña is not somebody you want to get into a battle with.
You know, and once he was able to get out in front of the rest of the pack, he has now taken off. Mark Schmierbach has got his hands full trying to catch up with Carlos. Carlos hasn't been on the series for quite some time, but he says, you know what, it's just like a bike. I'm just going to get back on there.
Absolutely, the 21 of Jose Mendaña Jr. They call him the Tampa Terror. Well, they don't. I do. I've been friends with Jose for about 20 years. He used to run, previous to the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series, it was called USF1. He was the president of USF1, and I was kind of his right-hand man So Jose and I spent a lot of time together. He ran in round 1 in Port Neches, Texas, but was unable to make round 2 and round 3. Back here for round 4, so he's back in points as far as season standings goes. He's sitting way back in the standings here in Formula Lights in 13th position, so trying to make up some ground here at the Battle on the Colorado here in Marble Falls, and he's starting to pull away from the 35 of Schmierbach, and I don't know if Mendana is going to have as hard a time getting around the 2 of Travis Thompson as the 35 of Schmierbach did, because the 78 of Gildermaster qualified 3rd fastest, but his motor didn't start in qualifying heat number 1. So the only reason he was so far back was because of his motor didn't start, and that's why it took so much more time for the 35 of Schmierbach to get around him. I don't know if the 21 of Mendana will have as much time. Oh no, looks like the 52 of Addison Dumford is now pulled off the race course. That is 2 boats down here in the Formula Lights qualifying heat number 2. As Mendana continues to push, he goes wide out of turn number 3. Notice Mendana's liking to go wide. That boat really loves top end. It's a really good top end boat. He has done a lot of work on it to make it a good starting boat, but he knows that it likes that wide line, so he's staying wide around the outside, trying to find the clean water. Schmierbach now knowing that we've only got 2 minutes, 14 seconds plus 1 lap remaining in this qualifying heat. He's trying to go short way and around the course, pin to pin.
You know, in 2 minutes is going to go by super fast for these drivers, because everything, the adrenaline rush is going so hard right now, because Mendana knows he's got to get around Travis, and at the same time, he's still got to be able to hold Mark Schmierbach in the 35 behind him. Mark Schmierbach is going to say, I'm going to sit here and wait and see if Mendana can make an error. Travis goes to the outside, gives Mendana the inside, and here comes Mark Schmierbach in the 35.
But that's not where Mendana wants to be, so he had to change his racing line, move down tight into lane number 1. Again, our lanes are like imaginary, right? Imagine, a 6-foot wide chunk of property. That's lane 1, closest to the buoy to 6 feet out, and then in subsequent 6 to 8 foot chunks from there. He likes to run outside lane 2 or lane 3. Had to go down into lane 1 to get by the 2 of Travis Thompson, the native out of Humble, Texas, who's had some electrical gremlins here in Formula Lights, trying to get back out into top form here in qualifying. 21 Mendana continues to push hard down the back straightaway, the all-white chartreuse trim. Mike Scott Plumbing on the side, and that is a boat built by the Mendana family. And here it comes, no surprise, the 35 of Mark Schmierbach starting to close the gap, but Kay, only 1 minute plus 1 lap remaining.
An unusual move by Mark Schmierbach, jumped on the outside on that last turn because he ran out of room. Basically, Mendana shut the door on him and said, no, that's my inside lane. That's what I prefer. I'm going to go for the inside lane and try something new, basically playing like a game with Mark Schmierbach as he's out there on the course. Down the backstretch, your leader is going to be the 21. Mendana, brought to you by Mike Scott Plumbing.
As Mendana now works it out of turn number 3, slides it wide out of turn number 3. Now look at eye up turn 4. As he comes out of turn number 4, hugs it a little bit tighter there. He's going to see the green flag go down. And the white flag looks like it's no, not yet. Maybe one more lap. We just got a couple of laps remaining here. 17 seconds plus 1 lap. Can the 35 of Mark Schmierbach catch the 21 of Jose Mendana Jr.? Or will the Tampa Terror find a checkered flag here in qualifying heat number 2?
Mark Schmierbach's not going to give it up very easily as they race down the backstretch. We got another race going on back here in the 3rd spot. It looks like Goldmaster is able to try and catch up. He's getting closer and closer to the 26 of Steve Lee. So we may have a race for 1st and 2nd and for 3rd and 4th, but the white flag is out. 1 lap to go.
All right, with 1 lap remaining, can the 21 of Jose Mendana Jr. be able to hold off the hard-charging Greenfield, Wisconsin man running for pizza in as they go down through turn 1? Now off turn 2, notice that he squeezed that lane there, Kay, and the 35 of Schmierbach had to get into the rooster tail a little bit of the 21 of Mendana. That was done on purpose as he goes down into turn 3. Now he goes real tight again into turn 3 because he can see that rearview mirror filled with the 35 of Mark Schmierbach as they come off at turn number 4. Puts it back on its tail. Ladies and gentlemen, taking qualifying heat number 2 out of Tampa, Florida, number 21, Jose Mendana Jr.
Followed by the Pizza Inn, ever colorful, number 35, driven by Mark Schmierbach.
And rounding out the podium, the other half of the Mike Scott Plumbing team out of Ocala, Florida, and that all yellow white trim Pew Design hull, the number 26 of Steve Lee.
And then the 78, that silver boat that had a little bit of issues earlier, and the Golden Master out of Spring Branch, Texas.
All right, it looks like due to the weather that may be coming in Looks like we're going to hold off on the interviews. As you can see, our Formula One drivers are already out on the water. This is what I'm talking about, Kate, right?
Yeah.
I love this. The guys are out there. The Formula lights are pulling off. The Formula Ones are already ready to go on the water. The wind is picking up. Mother Nature's getting a little gnarly, but our drivers are ready to go.
You know, and I saw them out there earlier when they were getting the Formula lights lined up, and I was like, it's almost, you know, because we talked about how we got our drone footage all waving at us. We were talking about how the Formula lights is basically a step-in process into the Formula Ones. And when I was looking, I was like, I almost wanted to take a picture because you had all of the Formula lights lined up, and right on the outside you had all the Formula Ones, and it was almost like the big brothers watching the little brothers. It totally looked like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what I mean? You look at, they're both tunnel hulls. One's about 14.5 foot long, and the other one's about 16.5, 17 feet long. And so one absolutely is a feeder into the other, just because one's, you know, the great thing about Formula Lights is it's such an underpowered racing machine. I mean, a 45
80 miles
cubic
an hour.
inch.
How is that underpowered?
I mean, hey, they make great power, but the motor itself, I mean, you put that on the back of a fishing boat, if you hit 30, you're thanking
lucky.
your lucky stars,
Yeah.
right? And we're talking like a 16-foot aluminum boat can barely do 30. But with the performance and design of these tunnel hulls, as well as the racing gear case, the racing propellers, and the way they set these boats up, it's amazing how much speed they get out of such a small engine package. And what that really does to the driver is it really forces them to learn how to, what we call, wheel the boat, right? You really got to crank the wheel. You really got to learn how to get that thing around the course, because unlike a Formula One where you have such tremendous power going into the turns and you basically just trim the motor in and just barely turn the wheel and the boat sets itself, you've really got to dig hard in a Formula Lights, and that's why it's such a great feeder program to the Formula One class.
Yes, exactly. It's a perfect class for if somebody wants to get into tunnel boat racing for them to start. It's not an expensive way to get into it. Boat racing itself is like, you know, we're all about sponsorship, and you see a lot of sponsors on the side of these boats. They're helping them out. But you're talking about the speed between the two different boats. Well, out here on the course, we have two different motors. We have the 2.5 along with the brand new APX. When the APX came out, that was one of the things these drivers were experiencing was the torque that was coming from the brand new APX, because
Absolutely.
It's got so much torque. These drivers were like, oh, was not expecting that. So they had to make some adjustments, not only just on their driving skills, but also on the steering and in the inside.
Yeah, and the setup and everything. For
everything's
sure.
different. So here's my question that I really, want to ask some of these drivers. Right here is an example. You've got Jared Jensen, who's out here in the 29, but then you've also got somebody like, let's just say Anderson. He goes out and he tests both boats, both motors, both setups in one day. And I'm like, how do you actually change your whole mindset from going from the torque and the weight and the way that the boat moves and reacts just within like jumping from one boat to another? But that's the part of boat racing, I guess, because another example is coming right in front of us in the Captain Mark Seafood. That would be Grant Schubert, who just a little bit ago was inside of a tri-hull, and now he's inside of a tunnel boat. That's like two extremes right there.
Yeah, I mean, one is the figure eight racing at your local dirt track. The other one's the Indy 500.
Exactly.
Right? Completely different skill sets. Unfortunately, he didn't really get to run all that fast there in qualifying heat number 2, but smart move by the veteran. It's weird to call a 21-year-old a veteran, but when he's been running in he's been in an F1 boat now. I think this is what, year 3?
I think it's 3.
Yeah, because you can't get into an F1 until you're 18 years old. So, third year in an F1. He's got about 5 or 6 years in the Texas Tri-Hull. Before his F1, he was doing double duty with Tri-Hull and Formula Lights. So the amount of laps that young man has amassed behind the steering wheel of a high-performance racing machine is pretty impressive for being such a young age. I mean, you look at some of our other young drivers. I mean, Jeremiah Mayo, I think, is 24. Dustin Terry's, in his early to mid-30s, but he's been running a Formula One boat since he was in his late 20s. Dylan Anderson's just about that 30 age. So we don't have what we typically see, which is a lot of those, 35 to 55-year-old drivers as they've worked their way up. We've got a lot of young guns that put the time in early thanks to their families and their great sponsors. And, boy, that means that we're going to have some unbelievable tunnel boat racing action here in the Formula One class for many years to come. You see there again, Cole wearing a little bit better spirits now after that frustration from qualifying heat number 2. He's got the zebra suit on. You can notice he's got the radio in hand. The Outlaw F1 team, they are always on each other's radios, helping each other. Again, when they're not on the water and their teammates are, they're all about helping them. But if they're on the water with their teammates, they're just another competitor on the race course.
Exactly. And if you haven't made your way over to the pits, because we've been so busy with racing all day, make sure you do make your way over to the pits and go talk to these drivers and look inside of these Formula Ones. There's not much room inside of these cockpits.
No.
And, you know, maybe you can actually get inside of one. Some of these drivers will be like, yeah,
I
I'll put you in
fit.
there. Maybe your kid inside of one of these. And, you know, maybe out here in the grass, over here in the grass, you know, we've got our next Formula One title champion sitting over there.
Very possible. You know, I got to say, I love that they've gone to the carbon fiber because it definitely provides a wider variety of driver that's able to fit. Back in the day, as they say, when I was growing up, somebody my size at 6'2", 280 pounds, you wouldn't even have a prayer. You'd have to have a special cockpit built for you. But as racing evolved, as our safety procedures and our safety has evolved, they've realized that actually giving the driver room inside the cockpit while allowing them to be strapped in a 6-point safety harness with a Hans head and neck restraint device is actually a really good thing. Allowing them to bounce around a little bit in the event of an accident without hitting the sidewalls and giving them room if they make contact with another boat on those sidewalls is always a good thing. So maybe now I could fit in one, but for a long time
you gotta get in one.
It wasn't even a choice. Well, let's take a look now as we've got the rest of our grid about lined up. Let's take a look at our reverse order of points starting lineup here for qualifying heat number 2. On the pole here in heat number 2, he's out of Houston, Texas. He's running for JH Performance Boats in Nashville Marine, the number 40 of Austin Cheatham.
In the cockpit of the 92, Chuck Skelton Racing, Dean Comer made the 26.5 probably hour drive out of California.
Yeah, that is a long drive running for Bear King Brewery here locally. Don't forget, swing by Bear King Brewery tonight. They're donating proceeds to the flood victims here in Central Texas. But coming third off the start pontoon, running for Ray Bob's Seasoning. And boy, Ray Bob's, if you haven't had it, they're up here. They've got the seasoning. Pick yourself up a container. But coming third off the start pontoon, they call him Jeremiah. Get out of my way, Mayo.
Oh, he's got himself some competition because that Rinker Boat World brought on that brand new sponsor of Mastercraft. Chris Rinker wants to show them proudly on the top of the podium, and that's number 52.
Fifth off the start pontoon, looking to make some more waves out of Windsor, Colorado, running for Island Lake Marine, the number 29 of Jared Jensen.
Captain Mark Seafood brings our young gun driver doing double duty between the Tri-Halls and the F1, Grant Schubert in the number 13.
All right, seventh off the start pontoon, the number 1 of Dustin Terry, and rounding out our field here, the winner from qualifying heat number 1, the 17 of Dylan Anderson. 1 minute, drivers, 1 minute. Can the 40 of Austin Cheatham find that inside line and go wire to wire here in qualifying heat number 2 and collect some fantastic points towards a championship here at the Battle on the Colorado? 50 seconds, drivers, 50 seconds. Or will that APX in the 92 of Dean Comer come off the beach here well in heat number 2 and find himself with a checkered flag in hand? 40 seconds, drivers, 40 seconds. Or will that bright orange and white Ray Bob's machine get back into form and claim another checkered flag here in qualifying heat number 2? 30 seconds, drivers, 30 seconds. Or will it be the winner from Alton, the 52 of Chris Rinker, or the 29 of Jared Jensen, the 13 of Grant Schubert, the 1 of Dustin Terry, or our winner from heat 1, the 17 of Dylan Anderson? Let's find out who's going to win heat number 2. 20 seconds, drivers, you're under starters orders. The flag is up. He drops the flag, and they come to life. Great jump there by the 92 of Dean Comer. Where did he come like a rocket off the beach? Where did that come from? Wow.
Oh, we just about lost Jeremiah Mayo as he got stuck in the rooster tail being left behind by Chris Rinker. But in the lead is going to be the 92 Chuck Skelton Racing Ring Dean Comer. But on his outside hip, I can see the turquoise and blue of the Island Marine, driven by Jared Jetson.
Boy, that was scary for the 8 of Mayo. He almost blew it over catching the rooster tail. But look at the 29 of Jared Jensen going wide to the outside now. Comer Comer presses out into lane number 2, forces the 29 of Jensen a little bit wider. We're going to have a battle now as the 13 of Grant Schubert comes up side by side with the 52 of Chris Rinker as they battle for third, and he leaves him standing still coming down the back straightaway. But now here comes Rinker back battling as they go side by side down into turn number 3. Rinker on the inside. The 13 is Schubert on the outside in lane 4, but it is all Dean Comer right now. I don't know where that extra gear came from. It was like he hit the turbo boost button coming off the dock. He absolutely was screaming fast, and now he's pushing hard to stay out in front of this Formula One class here in qualifying heat number 2.
I don't know. He didn't place that well in the last heat, but I can say that they probably put their head right back into that prop box and said, eeny, meeny, miny, this one's going to take us to the top, and that might have been the prop that's going to bring him to the top. 92, Chuck Skelton Racing, Dean Comer, followed by Island Marine out of Windsor, Colorado, Jared Jensen, and here comes hot number 52, Chris Rinker with Mastercraft.
And that Rinker Boat World on the side. Orange and white, all with the big yellow on top and on the decks. Can he continue to push hard? He's sitting in third. He needs these points bad. He goes big sweeping turn there in turn number 1. Now kicks it off at turn number 2. Looks like the 52 of Rinker and some of the other drivers are trying to almost take turn 2 completely out of the picture and really get to top speed by the time they're leaving that exit pin down there in turn number 2.
It's a great run for third, fourth, and fifth. And fourth place is going to be Dylan Anderson. And it looks, once again, that Mayo is just getting loose. He just cannot seem to get this boat to settle down on this heat.
Boy, he comes in fast down the straightaways. Now he goes side by side with his teammates. Captain Marks on the inside. The Outlaw F1 Ray Bob seasoning of Jeremiah Mayo on the outside. They almost go deck to deck, side by side, down to the north end of the course, down through turn number 1. And they are battling hard for that 5th position. As the 17 of Dylan Anderson's been able to get by them. Now he's looking to track down the 52 of Chris Rinker. But it is all the 92 of Dean Comer. But what a battle there between teammates. And that's what they do, right? They push each other hard. But you notice that was good, safe, clean, hard racing. They got close, but they didn't touch.
Exactly. I mean, they were extremely close. And as you're watching Jeremiah Mayo come out of turn 3 and 4, still just riding it to the edge, trying to get around Jack Schubert in that number 13, Captain Mark Seafood.
Well, absolutely. He's got to be so frustrated. He had to lay so far off of it on the start. You know, if he wouldn't have had to lay off it, Jeremiah would probably be up in that top 3 position right now, or at least battling with Rinker instead of being shuffled back into the 6th position. And this is not where the series points leader needs to see. He finished 6th in qualifying heat 1, and he finds himself here in 6th place again. And they're all trying to chase the man out in front right now with that APX on the back. Bear King Brewery, the number 92 of Dean Comer.
Dean Comer came out with a checkered flag at the very beginning of the year. Unfortunately, like we said, he was a little bit far behind on that last heat. But now that he has got that start figured out, he is leading this race. He is running the course, and he is telling each driver behind him, this is my checkered flag. I'm going to hold it as he glides his way out of turn 3 and 4, dives the nose back down across the start-finish line.
Absolutely, and look there. It looks like the transponders failed on the one of Dustin Terry as he is not in 8th position. He is actually, let's see here. He is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He is in 7th position. So he's ahead of the 40 of Austin Cheatham. But they're all trying to catch that man who's going down underneath the bridge, down there into turn number 3. Sweeps it off of 3 now. Here's where it could get interesting. And this where the 29 of Jared Jensen could be in a very advantageous situation as the 40 of Austin Cheatham is continuing to push hard. He's trying to stay on the lead lap. But if, depending on when the 92 of Comer gets up on the 40 of Austin Cheatham, if he can here, as we've got 3 minutes, 59 seconds plus 1 lap remaining. Look at how close that gap is already between those two. And now we see the 8 of Jeremiah Mayo pushing hard, trying to get out of that 6th place position. But there's the 29 of Jared Jensen. He's only 1.06 seconds behind our leader, the 92 of Dean Comer. Can he get by the 92 of Comer and claim his first qualifying heat win ever in Formula One for the young driver out of Windsor, Colorado?
Austin Cheatham only went out to about lane 3, holding Dean Comer extremely close to those buoys as they make their way into turn 1 and just about swap paint. Jared Jensen's going to try and follow suit, going to try and duck on the inside of Austin Cheatham in the number 40 JH Performance.
And he splits the difference there now, trying to find that clean line, and he does. The 92 of Comer going down to the inside. That's not necessarily where that APX likes to run. It likes to run out in lane 2 and lane 3. You see how wide he comes off of turn number 4. Continuing to push hard. Now he's going to go through the left-hand chicane on the front straightaway. Look at him sweep that boat beautifully here on the shores of the Colorado, the 92 of Comer. Continuing to push hard. The driver out of Monrovia, California, trying to find top form here in qualifying heat number 2. Can he hold off the 29 of Jared Jensen and go wire to wire after one of the best starts I have probably ever seen out of an APX here on the shores of the Colorado? That was absolutely on point by the 92 of Dean Comer.
You know, he watched, that was a long flag, too. It was like cutting, what do they say, cutting air with knife or whatever.
Yeah.
It seemed like it took forever for them to drop that flag, and that is exactly what Dean wanted. Take a deep breath and get out onto the course. He gets a little flighty coming across the start-finish line. You can hear the breeze coming through our microphone. This is where these drivers really need to be cautious and use that trim to the full extent.
Absolutely. They've got to be careful out there because you can't finish first if you don't first finish. And that's what they're trying to do here. The 52 of Chris Rinker is now sitting still in that third place position, has pulled away quite a bit from the 17 of Dylan Anderson. But our leader, the 92 of Dean Comer, sees that flash of teal and white with Island Lake Marine on the side in his rearview mirror. Can he continue to hold him off? We're under 2 minutes, and he is starting to get a little squirrely out there. That extra weight on the back of the motor as things get a little bit rougher definitely changes the attitude of those Formula Ones, Kate. Well, who do you think's better off here, the 29 of Jensen with the lighter motor package, or will the 92 of Dean Comer be able to use that heavier boat to keep himself in the water? It looks like he's struggling a little bit more as this water gets to churn up a little bit in the late stages of qualifying heat number 2.
It's not only the water, but we can tell that the wind is actually, and we almost lost both of them as they came out of turn number 3 and 4. But as they come out of 3 and 4, they are coming head into the wind. That is why these boats are getting squirrely. They're packing water underneath those boats, but they don't want to pack too much, otherwise they get squirrely. That's when they hit one of the rollers that is going in here, and the side sponson will catch that, and that's when you're seeing this action.
And we got to watch out. The 29 of Jared Jensen so focused on trying to catch the 92 of Dean Comer. I don't know if he's been able to see that 52 of Chris Rinker that's filling up his rearview mirrors. Can Rinker move up one more spot? But let's stay with the 92 of Dean Comer right now. There's the 29 of Jensen. You see he takes a way tighter line with that 2-stroke versus the much wider line of that APX V8 4-stroke on the back of the 92 of Comer.
And each time he rolls over that rooster tail of Dean Comer, that actually makes it so the prop has to kind of almost like double churn. It's like going through rough water already, and that's where he's losing speed. But he has no real choice because Dean keeps opening the door and shutting it on him.
It's a game of cat and mouse, right? I mean, Formula One tunnel boat racing is very much a game of chess, not checkers, right? It's all about you trying to predict the move that the driver that you're battling with is going to make, and that driver's trying to find out what your counter move is going to be so that they can counter that. And it's been a great game of cat and mouse between the 92 of Comer and the 29 of Jensen. But again, Jensen's got to watch out because the 52 of Rinker and the 17 of Dylan Anderson are both close up. Oh no, Dean! Oh no, Comer spins out almost goes completely dead in the water down in turn number 1. Will the 29 of Jared Jensen be able to catch him? As he goes wide to the outside, Jensen trying to pack air out of that 17-foot-long Hoffman-designed Formula One. And it looks like he just didn't have enough room. Oh boy, that was almost disaster for the 92 of Dean Comer, but we are getting close to the end here. 10 seconds, so we are on our final lap. There's the white flag. Go fast, turn left for 5 more turns here on the shores of the Colorado River. Can Dean, the 92 of Dean Comer, hang on, or will the 29 of Jared Jensen find his first checkered flag in his young Formula One career as they go out of turn 1, now off at turn 2, staying over the top of Dean Comer, looking to battle it and fly it down the back straightaway. 110, 115, 120 plus miles an hour in that Formula One hull here on the shores of the Colorado River.
What a great run by Dean because the white flag is now dropped. The checkered flag is coming out. He's only got a half a rooster tail or a half a straightaway to go, and he's going to be able to take that checkered flag in the 92. Mr. Bowie, Chuck Skelton Racing brings you Dean Comer.
Right behind him, what a valiant effort, the number 29 of Jared Jensen, followed by the 52 of Chris Rinker in third, the 17 of Dylan Anderson in fourth, the 13 of Grant Schubert in fifth, the 8 of Jeremiah Mayo in sixth, the 1 of Dustin Terry in seventh, and the 40 of Austin Cheatham rounding out the field here in qualifying heat number 2. Boy, what an amazing finish was to a fantastic day of racing here. Saturday qualifying in the Battle on the Colorado. And boy, was that amazing by the 92 of Dean Comer. And we're going to hopefully have a chance to chat with the driver out of Monrovia, California, running for Bear King Brewery. Mr. Bowie and Chuck Skelton Racing. Boy, he ran that thing like a pro here in qualifying heat number 2. What a fantastic run it was. But how about the 29 of Jared Jensen? This kid is coming out of nowhere. He blew his boat over in testing at the opening round back in early May. Destroyed the boat. Didn't make round 2. Picked up a new boat. Had that boat for about 3 days before the Alt Midwest Nationals. Now, he's had a couple of weeks since then. I know he went back home to Colorado, did some extensive testing in that new Formula One, well, new to him, purchased from the defunct Phase 3 racing team. but he was able to pick that up, and, man, he is on a blistering pace. I mean, these guys better watch out because this young driver he's hungry, and he's coming for them. And if they don't watch out, they're gonna find themselves looking at the rooster tail of that Island Lake Marine, number 29, Jared Jensen, as he is continuing to put on a clinic. And this is what happens. It takes drivers after a big wreck a little bit to get back into form, especially somebody who's as young in their career as the 29 Jared Jensen is. And it made him, call it timid a little bit. Fair enough. You don't want to blow over another boat right after you destroyed your primary boat that you just picked up in the offseason, brand new. And that's got to be frustrating. But right now we're going to have a chance to chat with the man who went wire to wire after, honestly, I have to say, one of the best starts I have ever seen in a Formula One boat. In comparison to the rest of the field, I don't know if he's got a turbo button or some NOS in that thing, but boy, he came screaming off the dock, and he ran that thing fantastically here in qualifying heat number 2. But I'm going to send things down to my partner, Kay, as she chats with the Heat 2 winner, the number 92 of Dean Comer.
I mean, that was one heck of a start. Thomas just talked about it. You rocked on off this dock like a rocket.
Oh, these guys out here are the top drivers in the world, and trying to get around them has been a chore for me for so long, especially with Rinker behind me, just knowing that that's like the world champion guy coming for us, you know. Fast boat, fast driver, everything. So I'm just very happy that we brought the boat back so the team doesn't have to work on it tonight. Our team's been kicking ass. So we're happy to be here. We got a great sponsor, Bear King Brewery, and we're going to be up there tonight signing some autographs. So, yeah, we're very happy to be here. Thank you, Marble Falls. This is an amazing place to race.
Well, we're going to go over to this turn right here where you just about lost the checkered flag. You spun out. What happened?
Driver error. It happens.
Well, you corrected it, and you were able to keep Jared Jensen right on your back pocket along with Rinker. Congratulations. A checkered flag belongs to you, Mr. Bowie, 92, Chuck Skelton Racing.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Boy, what a fantastic mustache on the top of the 92 of Dean Comer's upper lip. He's rocking the stash this weekend here in Marble Falls, and what a fantastic run it was for the driver out of Monrovia, California. All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, looks like we got it in just in time. There are gray skies all around us, but the weather has played nice with us here in Marble Falls. But boy, what a nice cool down it has been here in the later stages of qualifying here on Saturday. We're going to be back at it again tomorrow. For those of you watching from wherever you are across the world on our YouTube channel, we are going to have our opening ceremonies right at 12 noon with racing commencing at 12:15 tomorrow. So, again, we've got racing starting at 12:15, opening ceremonies at 12 noon, as we're going to run our final qualifying heats in all 3 classes, plus then our main event in all 3 classes as we look to crown a champion here at the inaugural Battle on the Colorado in Marble Falls, Texas. All right, well, that's going to wrap everything up for today. Okay, it was a fantastic day of racing, deck to deck, battles in all 3 classes. Couldn't have asked for a better day of racing, and Mother Nature decided to cooperate.
Exactly, and I do thank you, Mother Nature. And I thank all of our fans. Only a little teaser of what we'll see tomorrow, because tomorrow, more heats, but then we have the final at the end of the day.
Absolutely, and these guys are going to dial it up, right? Again, you can't finish first if you don't first finish, so you always see a little bit of an extra notch come final Sunday that you don't really get on Saturday, but some valuable points collected. I think we're going to see some shuffling in the standings after today. We're going to recalculate points. We'll have updated season standing points for our racing tomorrow, and I think we're going to see a couple of positions bounce up and down here as we saw the Ada Jeremiah Mayo finish outside the top 5 in both qualifying heats today. The 52 of Chris Rinker couldn't muster better than a third-place finish in any of the qualifying heats. And drivers who have either had some things go on, like the 17 of Dylan Anderson, or other drivers who are just unable to make all the races here in 2025, like Dean Comer, find themselves with checkered flags in hand here in a couple qualifying heats.
Pretty sure the pits are going to be quite busy tonight, working until the midnight hours, making some changes, I heard there's some damage to a couple boats that happened over in the Tri-Hall.
I'm going to go check that out. But it sounds like there might be a hole in one of the boats, which is not too unlikely in the tri-hull classes. So I do tell you that if once you go through the vendors over there, grab yourself a lemonade. What did you just have? Rainbow?
Oh, I had some fantastic fried ribs from the great folks at Ray Bob Seasoning. They got fried chicken, fried ribs. Pick yourself up a nice bottle of Ray Bob Seasoning. It is the best seasoning for any of your frying or barbecuing needs. The great folks at Ray Bob sponsoring the Ada Jeremiah Mayo all season in 2025 and hanging out with us here at the Battle on the Colorado. But we also got brisket sandwiches, pulled pork sandwiches, falafels. There's kettle corn, all sorts of great stuff there. Make sure your belly's full before you leave this beautiful park in downtown Marble Falls. We appreciate you taking time with us today. Good night. God bless. And we'll see you tomorrow at noon for opening ceremonies as we crown a champion here at the inaugural Battle on the Colorado. It's round 4 of the 2025 Formula One Powerboat Championship Series here from Marble Falls, Texas.